Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, that's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back to it. That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Yeah. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there. Sure. Yeah. Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com, Noom.com here, based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information. Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about Rocket Money. It's the start of a new year. It's the perfect time to get organized, set your goals, prioritize what matters most. And for me, top priority is getting myself together here. Financial wellness, doing that, which that feels important, just feels like adult stuff that you have to do. And thanks to Rocket Money, my goals feel achievable now. They show me all my subscriptions in one place, help me easily cancel ones I forgot that I've been paying for, which happened to me, absolutely happened to me. For years, I was paying for something. I was like, what is going on here? Rocket Money found it and saved me lots of money since then, because it's been a while. So they did a great job here. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder today. That's rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder. rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Welch's can't make everything make sense. Like why your mom still listens to the radio or what she meant when she sent that emoji. But a zero sugar drink that's still full of fruit flavor, we made that make sense. And strawberry, passion fruit, Concord grape, and more. You gotta sip it to get it. New Welch's Zero Sugar. Let's fruit stuff up.
This week, in Fillmore, Utah, a young woman disappears after hitchhiking, and when she's eventually found, it's as gruesome a murder as can be imagined, complete with scattered body parts. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you so much for joining us today on another insane edition of Small Town Murder, and it doesn't get any less insane today, I might add.
Terrific.
This is just, this is some bad stuff that happens here today, so buckle up, everybody, and get ready, because it's a wild one. Before we get to that, just want to say thanks for everything you do for us.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. If you'd like to see the last live show of the year, December the 2nd, Dallas, Texas will be there. There's a few tickets left.
The Majestic Theater. It's fucking majestic.
It's a big, beautiful theater, so get in there. A few tickets left. Get those. Shutupandgivememurder.com and come see us. It'll be a lot of fun. And should be December, we'll be announcing next year's tour dates as well, so you guys can
It's going to be great.
You guys can start your planning and everything, because I know you guys like to get those tickets early. So thank you so much for everything you do for us. If you would like to do a little more, you can get Patreon. Patreon.com/crime in sports is where you get all the bonus. I mean, the whole back catalog. There's a couple hundred episodes to binge on. You're going to get all that and new episodes every other week. One crime in sports, one small town murder. We say if you want to do more, but really our Patreon, is almost a gift that gives to you, really, because the episodes are good. And this week we're going to talk about some interesting stuff for crime and sports, which of course you'll get. We're going to talk about what the hell's up with roller derby.
What is that?
What is it? Because we know we have listeners who are roller derby people. We have in our office here, we have a roller derby jersey that we were sent. And we have no idea what goes on. We don't know. Is it like wrestling? You guys hit each other. Is it real? What's the point of this game? How do you score? What's happening? It was on TV for a long time. Then it wasn't. What's going on? I really want to know all these different things, and we will find out everything here on that episode. Then, for Small Town Murder, we are going to talk about, well, it's our annual, we do it about twice a year, Love After Lockup time, everybody. Let's find out what happens when you make the decision to marry a prisoner and then take them home with you and see what happens. This will be fun. So
It's something. This season is something, man.
It's wild stuff. So that is patreon.com/crime in sports. And you should listen to Crime in Sports regularly. And you should also listen to Your Stupid Opinions, our new show, which is...
Boy, should you.
It's hilarious. If you like comedy, then there's no reason to not listen to it. It's great stuff. So check all that out. Quick disclaimer here. It's a comedy show. We're comedians. People definitely are going to die. Jokes are definitely going to happen. Thing is, they don't really intertwine that much. There's nothing funny about an actual murder. Oh, wow. And he sawed her head off? That's hilarious. That's not funny. There's no jokes there. The jokes are, I think I can get away with this murder if I do this dumb thing. That's pretty funny. Cops not catching someone who's obviously guilty. That can be funny when people bumble, the stuff like that. So jokes come all over the place, and it's good stuff. And it's nice stuff here. But what we go out of our way not to do, is we don't make fun of the victims or the victims' families.
Right. Why's that, James?
Because we're assholes, but we're not scumbags. That's how that works. So if you think that sounds good to you, you're going to hear one hell of a crazy story. If you think true crime and comedy should never, ever, ever, never go together, maybe we're not for you, considering that's what the show is. But maybe we are, though. Give it a shot. And either way, no complaining later. Okay?
Right.
That said, I think it's time to sit back, everybody. Let's all clear the lungs, and let's all shout, Shut up and give me murder. Let's do this. What do you say, everybody? Let's go on a trip, shall we? All right.
Let's do it.
We are heading out to Utah here. Going to Fillmore, Utah.
I don't even know where that is.
Well, yeah, it's a small place, and it's hard. The actual murder doesn't take place in Fillmore, Utah. No? Fillmore, Utah was the ultimate destination, and it takes place about 30 miles short of there, but in a place that's not really a town. So we're kind of doing this about Fillmore because this is the victim's hometown, and it's that sort of thing.
It's the crux of the argument.
Yeah, here. So Fillmore, I want to call it Fillard for some reason because it's in Millard County, and Millard Fillmore was a president, and I want to call Fillmore Fillard really bad.
It's a better name than Millard, to be honest with you.
It's going to happen.
At least he could go by Phil.
Phil, hey, Phil. Yeah.
Did he go by Mill? Did people call that man Millie?
Big Mill. Big Mill man.
What the
Big Millie.
hell, man? Yeah.
So this is
like a rapper.
The Big Mill. That would be his name.
Oh, Millie.
Like the guy from Love After Lockup. What was his name?
Yeah.
Montana Mills. There you go. This is in central Utah. A little bit off to the west a drop here. It's about 2 hours and 10 minutes south of Salt Lake City. So if you take, I think it's the 15 goes all the way up to Salt Lake City. And that
I've been through it.
Yeah, the 15 intersects with the 70 right around where then the 70 is the one that goes east-west to Colorado.
Wow.
So you've been on that, too, if you've driven from one to the other. So right where that intersects.
That's way up in the mountains.
That's where the murder happens, is the intersection of it. And we'll talk about exactly where that is.
That's crazy, because I've been to that area before, and driving through there, I was like, there is nothing here.
No, there isn't. There really isn't.
You could make anybody disappear there.
It's so desolate. Apparently not very well, according to this story. So this is about an hour and 15 minutes to Eureka, Utah, which was our last Utah episode. That was the bad seed. It was that guy there. I remember that one. This is in Millard County, and the motto of this town is, where the hell am I? What's going on? Did you see a sign? Did I pull off I needed gas, but I don't see I don't know.
Did they call him Millard?
Millard County, huh? So, history of this town, just a little bit here. Fillmore is located near what they describe as the geographic center of the territory and was originally built as the capital of Utah.
Fillmore was?
Fillmore was the capital of Utah. The Utah Territorial Legislature approved a plan to locate the capital here. And then
because it's dead center of the state?
Because it's near the center of the state. In 1851, Utah Governor Brigham Young Brigham Young chose the site for Fillmore, and then he had a guy that day survey the town.
Wow.
And then people started coming. They built houses, a grist mill, a sawmill. They built a Capitol building in 1852. They picked an empty spot and said, Capitol's going to be right here.
Wow.
It's near the middle. So then they had some disagreements with some natives in the area, obviously.
Right.
And that's going to
sure there was.
It's going to happen.
Some talks.
They ended up having to negotiate peace and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So then they built the fort, Cove Fort, which is near here, and that's where all of the bad things in our story happen here. So in October 1853, Captain John W. Gunnison, he led a military party to survey the region. He was attacked by a band of Ute Indians west of where Fillmore is now. He and 7 of his men were killed. So during the 1860s, they built 2 big forts here, Fort Deseret and Cove Fort, which is where the bad things in our story are going to happen. So, and they're like these thick-walled,
Sure.
They're like literally, don't let the arrows go through it. That was why they built the walls that way. I'm not even kidding. It says
Gunnison, there's a town in Colorado.
Yeah, we did it.
Likely named after that guy.
We did it. We did that town.
Oh, is that right?
I think it was actually. Yeah, we did that town when
I thought I was breaking some knowledge.
It was like the first year of the show. We did it. Maybe for second year. I don't remember, but it was a long time ago. We definitely did that.
I'm going to stop giving tidbits of information also because
don't do that. Just
I did mention jaguars on a show and panthers, and now my inbox is flooded with animal information.
So
little known facts about animals.
People do know way more shit than we do, and they'll tell us about it. They like to. We appreciate it.
They love sharing it.
They like to.
You
share
love that. I'll
it.
tell you this.
We're sharing now, so we understand. So they met in Fillmore, the territorial legislature, in 1855. But then in 1856, they said, "Why are we here? Salt Lake City's way bigger. Let's just move this shit there." And then they moved it there, and it's become it's a very small town ever since then. So here are some reviews of this town. Here we go. Just a few. Here's 5 stars. They love it. It's perfect. I like how small and tight the community is. Small and tight.
All right.
Like a parking spot or a butthole. One of the two. It's overall an awesome place to live.
Fantastic.
Once you put those windows in on the side, it'll fit right in there. The only
it's real
problem,
snug.
It's a little snug. The only problem is that's I'm reading exactly what it says. It does not have anything to do when it's cold outside. As most places are like that. It's cold.
What the fuck do you want?
You can go out and there's mountains less than like an hour away. You can go skiing everywhere.
Yeah.
Fillmore, this is the best one. It also does not have that many stores. And then Fillmore only recently got 1 sit-down restaurant, which I am very happy about.
Okay.
I bet you are. You can actually go out to eat.
Jacked.
I am jacked about it. Here's 2 stars. Not as helpful. Not as great here. No stores, the first sentence. No stores. You need to travel to Utah County to get anything you need. You are basically just out of luck. Extremely frustrating. What is even more strange is they like it this way. I guess
they like
it this way. Look at them. 1 sit-down restaurant. They're mad about it. They're mad. I guess those involved in making decisions for city growth would rather give their money to Amazon. It is crazy. I guess because you got to have stuff delivered to you because you can't go anywhere. And then finally, 3 stars. It's mostly fast food, but the fresh produce is yummy.
Oh, in a review, you wrote the word yummy.
You wrote yummy, like an adult. So that's good.
Fresh.
Produce can be very yummy. You're right. I mean, I can't argue with them. At the same time, it's hard to argue with that. Fresh produce is yummy. Yeah, it is.
Like that since I was like 11.
Oh, man. So people in this town, 2,550. So it's a very small, and these are just little towns dotted along the 15 there as it goes.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of them. There's Parawan, Paraguna, south of here, and they come up in our story as well. Beaver, all of these, and then finally Fillmore, and then beyond that is Salt Lake City and some other smaller places.
Okay.
So that's how it works. More males than females here by a good shot, which is 52% male, which is way out of whack there, of the norm anyway. Median age is a little bit lower, 36.1. A lot of people have kids here, as we'll talk about. Also, many 75-year-olds and older here.
Many,
like double the amount of normal.
Interesting.
Yeah. 58% married, which you're going to get that in Utah. Here, it's above average. 45.5% of the people here are married with children.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The race of this town, 75.8% white, 1.6% black, 1.7% Asian, 2.8% Native American, 16.1% Hispanic. So it's a little bit of a mixture.
It's Utah.
But it's Utah. It's what you'd expect here. 85.2% of the people here are religious. 85.2. It's usually 50-50, and it's 85.2. 81.3% of the people who live here are Mormons.
Yes.
So that's everybody. I mean, that is.
Oh my
man, I would feel very out of place here. Is what it
and
would be.
People say like it's a stereotype to be Mormon in Utah. No, it's not. It's just the fucking truth.
It's the truth. Yeah, if you go to Salt Lake City, it's a church, and there's some town around here also, but it's also mainly the church of what it is. It's what it feels like when you're there.
Yeah. It's interesting because you're in a hotel and you're looking out over the city, and it's just this giant, imposing building there, and then off in the distance is a college, and the rest of it is just all fucking religious.
And it's culturally, it dominates the landscape. I mean, just
I
mean, that's just what's there. I mean, for good or bad, whatever you feel, but
whatever it is.
The unemployment rate here is super low. It's 2.4, which is way lower than even the normal, which is about 4 right now. Median household income here is about $70,669. So for a median income, that's pretty good. The average has gone up a lot this year, too. Now it's up to $69,021, so it's just above that. But still, the cost of living, though, the housing is actually pretty low compared to everywhere else. Median home cost here, $282,300.
Fascinating.
Which is interesting, but what you get is strange. We'll talk about it. You know what? We'll talk about all of it with the Fillmore, Utah Real Estate Report. Here's a 2-bedroom rental. Your average price there is $810 a month, which is below the national average. That's about a third low. There's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath here, 1,314 square feet, and it is a mess. It is hideous from the outside. It looks abandoned almost from the outside. There is not a drop of anything on the yard. It's just dirt. So there's no rock, there's no fucking shrubs. It's just a dirt yard. So it looks abandoned, and the house looks looks like, what you'd get when you put nothing in your yard. You're probably not going to keep your house perfect either. A little strange on the inside too. Updated at weird different times. It's just a mess. I'm sorry. It's
hodgepodge of yuck.
Yeah, it's kind of gross, and it's $240,000 for that.
Oh my, $250,000.
Yeah, small lot too, not a big place.
Jesus.
That's what I mean. So you don't get a lot for that. 2-bedroom, 2-bath, T-bowl for each and every beehole anyway, but only a couple of them. T-bowl for both your beeholes. 1,438 square feet. It's nicer, but it's like clean, has a yard. Has like those old-fashioned like metal awnings over the windows, you know what I mean? Like people
my
put.
Mom's got them.
I was gonna say like my grandmother had those like when I was very little in the early '80s. I can remember those, and then she got rid of them.
You mow the lawn and edge it and whack your fucking forehead on it.
Oh, you'll slice your head open on those things. You can't have those.
Sneak out of the house at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a gash.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Inside could use a little updating. Just looks like grandma lives here and she keeps it very nice. $305,000 for that though.
Oh,
so that's a little getting expensive. And then finally, 6-bedroom, 4-bath, 3,306 square feet. So decent size, pretty good size house. Pretty nice house. You can tell it was a 2010 renovation just by the way everything is. It's just that, you can put it to that year.
It was a foreclosure buy.
Probably, yeah. They bought it in 2008, did this. Yeah. $495,000 for that. It's on a regular lot, too. No land with it or anything.
How much square footage? 2,000?
3,306.
I don't know about
500 seems steep.
Jesus.
Seems a little steep to me. Things to do here. Okay, now on the website it tells you things to do on the actual town website, which I found fun.
Really?
The county website that has a thing about their town. They say there's also several restaurants, including the Cottonwood Cafe and El Sol Mexican restaurant that offers delicious cuisines from around the world.
El Sol has around the world.
All the way from the Midwestern United States to Mexico. All the way around the world. It's all here, everybody. From ranch dressing to fucking salsa. We got it all. That's amazing. That's wild stuff.
From Chipotle aioli.
We got it.
Right on down to guacamole. We're going to solve your problems.
It's all here, everybody. Things to do. There is, first of all, Cove Fort. They have on their list on the website. It was built in 1867, and that's the place we're going to talk about later. Okay. Also, Hermit's Cabin, just to give you an idea of the area. There's very little around. Hermit's Cabin.
A guy that used to live there?
Yeah, well, there's a story about him. It was located near Margam Pass, and it's a rustic stone cabin built by a World War I veteran after he returned from the war to find his girlfriend married someone else. So he built himself a stone cabin and just lived as a hermit because he was so sad.
Fuck everybody.
Yep. He came home with PTSD and fucking breakup sadness and just literally built himself a tomb and waited to die and just sat there. Wow, that is fucking
cheating
weird.
Bitch.
Wow, you
ruined the man's
asshole.
life.
The Old Capitol Arts and Living History Festival. And I guess it's grown over the years, and they say there's around 50 artists and artisan booths, 2 stages with ongoing quality entertainment that's so quality they won't name you who's there.
We're not even going to tell you. It's quality. That's what it is.
You know how good it is? We don't want to brag. Put it that way. We don't want to brag about all the great people we have.
You'll walk in and understand why.
Oh, yeah. Many living history reenactors, children's stuff, horse-drawn wagons, and the festival's theme is the pioneering spirit. So you can go to that.
Yeah. You need it. You need it acted out. That's the only way to really learn it.
That sounds like a boring day, I'll be honest with you. So crime rate, what we're interested in here. Let's see. Property crime is about 20% under the national average. So
that's nice.
It's under that. And then violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, and, of course, assault, the Mount Rushmore of crime, is a little under half the national average. So, I mean, but there's nobody here. I don't know who you're killing. What are you doing?
But somebody's still doing it.
People are doing it. So that said, let's talk about some murder here. Okay. All right, let's get in the old time machine, Jimmy. We're not going all the way to like the 60s or anything, but we're still strapping in, and we're going to land in 1985. So let's think about it. Back to the Future just came out.
Yeah. Still no Millard Fillmore.
No, he's been dead for 150 years at least. Hulk Hogan is ruling the world at this point in time. Cyndi Lauper's everywhere. This is just to give you guys a little idea. This is Stranger Things times is what this is. This is exactly like season 2 of Stranger Things, I think is 85.
Right.
So there you go. That's where we are right now. Let's go to the summer of 1985. July, to be specific, is where we'll catch up with people.
Shirts are off.
But let's talk about some people who are doing things in July of 85. Let's talk about Sharon Lucille Sant, S-A-N-T, Sant. Sharon, she's 19 years old in 1985, and she's in college. She goes to Southern Utah State College, which is in Cedar City, Utah, which I think we've done, actually, as an episode. Cedar City. So, she goes there. This is during the summer of 1985. She's hanging out there. She goes to college there and stays there. She's from Fillmore, but she goes to school in Cedar City and works there, too. She has a job, so she just stays at school for the summer as well.
Good move.
Is how it goes,
Make that money.
Yeah, so she lived in Fillmore. Her father and sister were still there, and she went down to college, and she's living down there. Apparently, she didn't have the easiest time growing up as a kid.
Okay.
Yeah, she had some difficulties in high school. A lot of people teased her and picked on her a bit.
That's the worst.
When you see her, she wears like thick glasses.
Yeah.
And, she just looks like if you were a kid in the 80s and in the fucking 70s, you would just go, oh, she's a nerdy girl or whatever.
Yeah,
but
okay.
you know what I mean? So she gets picked on for that sort of thing. And but rather than making her shrink, it made her tough.
Oh.
She took it as, rather than shrinking away from it, she was like, oh, fuck you then. You know what I mean? Like, she didn't really take anybody's shit after a while because she got tired of taking people's shit.
Sure.
And then realized if you give them shit back, they might not be so apt to come after you.
They
anymore.
might leave you alone.
Yeah. She's ready to be a comedian, essentially. Yeah. she's ready to be a comic.
Yeah. The thing about fighting back to a bully is that it rarely makes it worse. It just makes it it either makes it go away or just doesn't do anything.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Something will happen. It
rarely makes
though.
it worse.
It's not status quo.
It will fix something.
It'll fix something.
It'll change something.
It's going to change a dynamic either way here. Yeah. So they said, her friend said, like, she's never afraid to stand up to people and tell them to go fuck themselves and, stand up for herself. She's tough. Uh-huh. And so she's not really afraid of a lot anymore. She's not. Okay. She's type of person that's just, if she wants to go somewhere alone, she'll go there alone. She's not like, oh, I want to have somebody with me. She's not like that at all. She's just, she's balls out. So, and also she's a student. What she's studying at Southern Utah is police science also.
Really?
So she wants to get into some kind of law enforcement type deal. I don't know if she wants to be in the FBI or wants to be an
investigation
officer,
or some shit. Yeah.
Some kind of something. Yeah. So she's working there, and she was in the this summer working on the CETA program for the Iron County School District as well, and which means she's working there. Kind of as like
at the school,
kind of as at like regular, not colleges, but like high schools, and as a custodian and stuff, because that's part of the program of the school. There's like a work program too, where they can help you get jobs, so you can afford to go to school and you can afford to live. So she's working there, and I think it counts as some kind of something toward your degree. Probably, also, like in high school. Remember that?
Yeah.
When they give you like a half a credit to have a job if you were.
Yeah.
We had that in my high school.
Who fucked up a lot.
Yeah, you're looking right here. I had to have a sheet. I had a sheet where I had some Italian guy at the pizza place going, I got to fill out what now? I'm not doing no paperwork. And I'm like, no, it's for school. It's not for the government.
Understand.
Nah, they're going to find out you work here, and then I'm going to be in trouble.
No, you don't understand. This is going to help me graduate because I fucking hate math.
Get the fuck out of here, graduate. That's what I would have heard. So, but that was me with my sheet going, please. Then I'd have to forge it. I actually did it, but I had to forge it anyway because the guy's like, I'm not writing down nowheres that you work here. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Don't make me write Giuseppe, please.
Don't make me write it because it's all under the table. I'm like, please, I'm not done. The government will find. So what do you think? The school is turning this into the IRS? Is that what you fucking think is going on? It's for half a credit in high school. Help me.
They're not checking up on this, man. This is dumb.
Jesus Christ. He thought it was going to be like come down to, he's going to get indicted with the Lucchese family over it.
No,
Rico's
man. This
coming down on us. This is crazy.
This is the president's wife's initiative. That's why I'm doing this. No child left behind and shit. Come on, man. Help.
Whatever was going on then. Yeah. 85. No. Yeah, this was Just Say No. That was this era.
Yeah, you're right.
This was Nancy Reagan on Different Strokes telling Arnold to say no.
Don't do that, Arnold.
Never do drugs. So she's an A student, and I guess she had come. She's doing very well in school as well. She just finished up her freshman year. This is the summer between freshman and sophomore. The head custodian of the high school where she worked said that she never ever missed a day of work, except when she had to leave once to have her tonsils out. And then she tried to come back to work too early, and he had to send her back home to recuperate for a couple more days. She was like, no, I'm fine.
No, you're bleeding. Go home.
Yeah, you're bleeding from the mouth right now. It's disconcerting a bit. I don't know. Something about it.
I can't tell if that's cherry popsicle or blood. Get out of here.
Jesus, that is terrifying. But I mean, that's the type of person she is, though. She's like, I'm showing up to work. Yeah, I'll try. So apparently in late July of 1985, two of her friends, Kathy Moore and Bart Rustin, died in a car accident together.
Shit.
In Fillmore, two of her high school friends. So she's really broken up about this, and she needs to go to the funeral in Fillmore. She wants to get up there, but she doesn't have a car is the problem.
Really?
She has no car, and as we talked about, Fillmore's a couple hours, away from
in a car,
and from
Not
Cedar
in a
City.
walk. Yeah.
From Cedar City, I want to say it's like a 4-hour drive, 4 hours.
Yeah.
I want to say
It's
something
a
like
ways.
that. It's a decent ride here. So she's trying to get a ride from several different people, but it never quite works out. Somebody had to leave a day earlier, so she couldn't go, and then somebody was leaving like the day after the funeral, and she couldn't go. She had to work one day that she could have went early, and so she missed it. She wasn't scared of hitchhiking.
Oh?
Not scared of hitchhiking at all, and she would do it once in a while because she had no car. So she would hitchhike. One of the somebody who knew her said she didn't have many breaks, and those she had, she made for herself. A close friend had been killed in a car accident, and friends meant a lot to her, so she had to get to that funeral. That's it.
Yeah.
She was getting there. Her boss, John Larry Smith, he's the chief custodian of the Iron County School District. He said, I told Sharon not to hitchhike. He even offered her money for the bus. He said, I'll lend you the money for the bus. Don't worry about it. And we'll find out later, she asked her father for the money. Oh. And her father just didn't have the money at the time for a bus ticket, for which, that's sad. So, so she said, that's fine. I'll just hitchhike. And he said, please don't hitchhike. And she said, I'll be fine. And then the boss said, I quote, I told Sharon not to hitchhike, that it was too dangerous. I'll give you the money. And then she refused to take the money from him because that's the kind of, she's stand up. That's all. She's like, nah, I'll take it from my dad, but not from you,
Right. Yeah.
And she had said to him, quote, I've done it myself before and I can take care of myself. And she said she'd be back on Monday and she'd see you then. And the guy says she never did show back up.
Oh, my.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely. These people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked. God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
This show, Small Town Murder, is brought to you by BetterHelp. Get yourself some therapy, everybody. Honestly, here. We often hear about, red flags that you should avoid. Hey, that's a lot of a thing. It's become a real phrase now, real cliche. But why don't you focus also, you look at like green flags in friends and partners. Look for good things as well.
Right.
And maybe you're not sure what that looks like, though. Therapy can help you figure that out. What are positive things? What are the green flags? And then you can practice them in your relationship. It's absolutely a fact. And so, honestly, we absolutely are huge advocates for this. It really, really helps. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable. It's convenient. They serve over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists, wide ranges of specialties there. Here's the coolest part. You're not getting along with your therapist, you're just not feeling it, you can switch at any time, no extra charge.
Wow.
The thing is, they want you to get help. That's it. And you can do it with BetterHelp. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/smalltownmurder today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
So, she told her friend on July 28th at about 11:30 that she was going to hitchhike. She's going to hitchhike then. That's when she was going to start. One of her coworkers later saw her on a middle interchange on the middle interchange on ramp in Cedar City. So she's
she's literally going.
She's going. She's standing on the on ramp, the island of the on ramp to get onto the 15 North. Just to
somehow.
Yeah. So someone picked me up that's going this way. So this is August 1st, I guess she's going on. That's when she finally goes to hitchhike. So eventually she gets a ride, apparently, because then she was gone. And one of her coworkers saw her last at 11:45, kind of standing, like I said, in the median there in the northbound on-ramp of Interstate 15. And, she goes. She was seen later in the day, too, in Parowan, which is a little bit up the road here. Okay. If you happen to watch Sister Wives, you've heard of Parowan a lot because Mary never shuts up about it because that's where she sets up her LuLaRoe shop, which is what you need there. So Parowan here, she's seen at the M&D Market, and we'll talk about that. She's seen at the M&D Market in Parowan later in the day in the company of George Wesley Hamilton and a guy named Robert Bott, Bobby Bott.
Bob
Bott. And they were driving an old Dodge pickup truck that apparently belongs to Hamilton. And a little bit about Hamilton. George Wesley Hamilton, born in 1944. So he's about 41 years old at this point in time. Little background on him. He would beat the shit out of his wife on a regular basis, old George here. Nice guy. He then, this is amazing. He, at this point in time, won't give you too much background on this relationship, but he beats his wife so much that she leaves right before the summer of 1985 here. And then he ends up going out with an 18-year-old girl who moves in because she is friends with his 13-year-old daughter. So his 13-year-old's 18-year-old friend moves in, and he decides to have an affair with her.
Dad.
Yeah,
wow.
Which is insane. He beat the shit out of that girl as well, of course.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Obviously. He's also a complete drunk, just a habitual, never seen without a beer in his hand. That guy. Attached to his hand. Like Drop Dead Gorgeous. It's
very, it's
sealed.
very interesting how angry people really love to drink and get angrier.
Yeah.
It's weird that it lowers inhibition so much that you're willing to just display the worst of you.
Yep. Well, you originally started doing it because it made you feel better a little bit.
Because it buries that.
It buries that, but then once you're drunk, then you act
then
it out
brings
more.
It out?
It's worse.
Wow.
Yeah. It's fucking crazy. So
what a substance.
Over this summer, too, he had, somewhere in town, he had pulled a gun on a young man and threatened his life. When you pull a gun on someone, you don't really need to say anything, I think.
Yeah, pretty much. We get the idea.
Actions speak louder, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, tell me how I can not get shot. That would help.
Yeah.
You know, unless you want me to shoot you, do this. Okay, that's good. So,
I have this, so you do what I say.
That makes sense. All right, now we're on the same page. Mm-hmm. So George Wesley Hamilton, he works for Arnold Folk Parkinson on a ranch that Parkinson leases north of Paragouna, Utah. And that is 22 miles north of Cedar City on the I-15. So between Cedar City, where she took off, and Fillmore, where she was headed, this is kind of
22 miles in there.
Yeah, so... one guy here who owns a rental house here, which he rents out to George Wesley Hamilton. Boyd Robinson is his name. He said initially Hamilton showed up with his wife, his son Willie, his daughter Vicky, and a 1-year-old daughter as well. So arrived with his wife and 3 kids in tow. That's when he got there.
To work the ranch?
So yeah, he's a woodcutter. That's what he does. He's a woodcutter, which is hard work. That's some hard work. So Boyd Robinson said that the wife would leave periodically and come back, and come in and out because he beat the shit out of her all the time. And that after a while, she finally just left about, before the summer of 85. So it was just him and his 13-year-old daughter, Vicky. So he's such a monster that she leaves with the kids, but leaves the 13-year-old daughter there behind. I don't know if the daughter wanted to stay. I don't know if that was the arrangement they made.
She's afraid of him. Yeah, if we all leave and he finds us, who knows what he's going to do.
And also, if it's the oldest daughter, a lot of times she'll have some weird "I want to take care of my father" thing also, which is a weird Coyote Ugly complex. Sure. You know what I mean?
Or there
where
could be something worse happening.
Make sure John Goodman eats a healthy dinner at night, type of shit.
Gotta make sure he eats peas.
Yeah, make sure his blood pressure's not too high. So that's what happens here. So I feel bad for that 13-year-old in the house with this guy.
Good Christ, what must she be putting up with?
That's brutal. So he's there with his 13-year-old daughter. He's got a coworker on the ranch who he hangs out with named Robert Bott, like we said, Bobby Bott. Right. Bobby Bott's 28 here
Oh, yeah.
So he's a little younger.
Nothing nobody's ages are going to be age appropriate at all.
Nobody matches up. 41-year-olds go out with 17-year-olds and hang out with 28-year-olds, and who cares? It's all relative here. So I guess in July, early July of 1985, Hamilton stopped working full-time at the Parkinson Ranch there, which the Parkinson Ranch sounds like you're taking care of cows that have some problems. You know what I mean? It won't stop twitching. It's not going to make it.
A lot of shaky cows.
A lot of shaky cows and chickens that are just, they'd be the same. Yeah. Chickens would be the same.
The thing is, you don't have to do it to make a milkshake. You don't have to do anything to it. You just pour this milk in,
like
and
that.
It comes out frothy and strawberry.
It's pretty amazing. So he then split his time between cutting firewood in the Paraguna area, which it looks like Paragana, but every pronunciation guide says Paraguna, even though there's one O.
Oh.
Yeah, it's Paragonah. Paragana.
Yeah, that sounds like Paragona.
Yeah, but it's Paraguna, apparently, according to all these pronunciation guides. So I don't know. So I guess he stopped working full-time for Parkinson, and instead he worked part-time for him and then also cut wood in the Paraguna area. Okay. So he would do all of that and keep doing that through the end of the year. Now, a little bit about Robert William Bott here. Bobby Bott. He works with Hamilton on the farm, like we said, and the way that the Parkinson guy who owned the ranch talked about it, he said that they hung out together all the time. They were, the two he hired to work the ranch. Right. And he said that Wes, which is what he calls Hamilton, his name is, I guess he goes by Wes. It's George Wesley Hamilton, yeah. So he said Wes Hamilton was more of a leader than Bott was. Bob was just kind of a follower.
Yeah, well.
So.
Yeah, to be a ranch hand, he's got Robert William. That's backward Billy Bob. That's Bob Billy.
He's almost Bob Billy. Robert William Bott. So he's Bobby Billy Bott.
Yeah, Bob
That's
Billy
his
Bott.
Name. Bobby Billy Bott.
I don't like it.
Which sounds like a hillbilly robot that I just built.
Yeah,
this is my Bobby Billy Bott, and he comes out. He's got a mullet, and he's like.
Billy Bob Bott sounds like that's a ranch hand right there.
Yeah, Billy Bob Bott, that sounds better. But Bob Billy Bott, he sounds like bigger somehow. Bob Billy Bott sounds like he'd kick your ass.
Yeah, but it sounds like he takes twice as long to get the chores done.
Because what are you going to do? Yell at him? He'll kick your ass. That's the point. He doesn't have to do these things.
From Bob Billy.
He just moves the tractor by hand. He just picks up the back of it and drags it, so no one else can do that. So, he's Lenny from Mice and Men. That's what he is. August 1st, 1985. The morning of August 1st, Parkinson can't find, or the owner of the ranch, because Parkinson leases the ranch and hires these guys and runs it.
Gotcha. Yeah,
the owner of the ranch comes, and no one's there. He can't find Hamilton. He can't find Bott. So no Wes, no Bobby Billy, and no Parkinson. Nobody's there. So later in the afternoon, this guy was shopping at the M&D Market in Parowan, Utah, which is 5 miles north of Paraguna along the I-15. Jacqueline Smith saw Hamilton, Wes Hamilton, and Bob Billy Bott in the store's parking lot. She saw Bott and a woman who she'll later identify as Sant here, as Sharon, in the cab of Hamilton's flatbed pickup truck. Also saw Hamilton leave the store, West this is, with a 12-pack of cans of Budweiser beer.
Yeah.
Put the beer in the back of the truck, and then he got into the driver's side of the truck cab, and then they drove away. The three of them drove away. Okay, so they stopped for beer. August 7th, a missing person report finally is filed about Sant. This is
a
insane.
week later, huh?
A week later, it's finally fucking filed. And she never shows up, and like her parents are expecting her. I don't know why it takes so long to file this, but it takes that long. So
I guess you give somebody a week to make it a 4-hour drive.
Yeah, walking. Right. And especially when she wants to get there on the 1st, later that evening or the 2nd, the next day at the latest. So a missing person report is filed on the 7th, and no one knows where she is. Her. People, they ask around, can't find her, nobody knows. Everybody has the same story. She left for Fillmore, And everybody in Fillmore has a story of, never got here to Fillmore. We never saw her.
We've been waiting on her here in Fillmore.
That's it. So August 16th, 1985.
2 weeks.
16 days after she got onto the interstate here. A Utah Department of Transportation employee is working near a frontage road and a northbound on-ramp of the I-15 at Cove Fort, Utah, where it intersects with the I-70, the east-west that goes to Colorado there. So, wow, okay. They notice some curious marks, the way they put it, just odd, some weird marks leading away from the road and into some scrub trees.
Real curious.
Yeah, kind of looked like something was dragged there, which is marks that animals don't make.
Right.
If you do a lot of shit on the side of the road, you know the things that animals do, and this is different. So they look a little closer, and there's 3 guys there, all looking down at it, and they all say they look like something was dragged through here. So they follow the marks, which is right. That's your first mistake.
Something was dragged. Well, let's go follow them. No,
let's find it.
Let's hire somebody.
It's not a fucking Easter egg. There's not going to be, a mini Snickers inside. I don't want to find this. This is going to be all bad. Call the cops. No, it's the Utah Department of Transportation employee. Just DOT employees that are like clean up the roadside and shit. They don't want to deal with this. This isn't their job.
Make sure the Jersey barriers are intact and the guardrails look right.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, look, drag marks. Is that a guardrail, motherfucker? Keep going.
Someone get on the walkie-talkie and tell someone back home to get the police station on the
Tell somebody that likes drag marks to come on over here.
Because I ain't looking for it, but they follow. It leads away from the trees, away from the road and into some scrub trees, and they follow this, which is crazy. They discover, where they follow it, a small mound of dirt that had what they described as, quote, sticks and an oily residue coming up through the dirt.
What?
To the top of the mound.
Okay.
So they see, some raised dirt with sticks stuck in it, and then it's oil, some sort of oil, something in there. So they noticed what appeared to be, this piques their curiosity. Right away you go, okay, well, this is weird. I'm calling someone, right? Yeah, I'm not looking into this. Then they look a little deeper, and they understand the meaning of the words mind your own fucking business.
Yeah.
Because what they see is what appeared to be, and I don't know how this would, if you saw this, would you go, oh, that must be this? What appeared to them to be a, quote, dried intestine on top of the mound.
How would you, is that...
I've never seen an intestine outside the body. Yeah, I've seen like the drawings of them in one of those. I've never seen like a hey, there you go. Let me hold that. Never
that looks like dehydrated. What? How would you?
I give those to my dogs all the time. They're like the pig's ears. They love them. They chew on them. They're real good for. No, this is. I would freak out if I saw dried intestine. I wouldn't know what it was.
Innards? Yeah. Oh, man.
So that's what they see. They, at that point, fucking hands in the air, and they go, whoa, and they take off, and they call the police immediately because you found an intestine. That's the time to call the police.
And an oily residue. I'm fascinated by that, too.
I often say people are too quick to call 911.
Yeah.
Like, if you watch shows like, On Patrol or whatever, there's a lot of things where you're like, did you have to call 911 for that, really? I don't think you did. I think you just
You just ruined this guy's life for a while.
Yeah, like you should get a bill at the end of that.
Yeah.
Like we've determined that you did not need to call us. That'll cost you $418 of taxpayer money for us to come stand here and talk to you for no fucking reason. That, on the other hand, this is like the best reason to call 911 ever. I found an intestine. It's the total opposite of...
I'm pretty sure it's a dried intestine.
Think I found an intestine. So the Millard County Sheriff's Office arrives at the scene, and... they find what they describe as a shallow grave.
Yeah.
There's only 1/4 to 1/2 inch of dirt over the body.
That's as shallow as it gets, I think.
It's just covered enough to not see it.
Yeah.
Literally just a dusting onto, which is you're going to kill people and then be fucking lazy about burying them?
Like the amount of soil that's tiny.
Yeah, well, the wind could take that on a windy day. A windy day could take 1/4 inch of soil.
Yeah, a dust devil could excavate the whole thing.
Or rain could wash. A rainy day could wash that away. They skimmed it off carefully with shovels at first. Then they just used their hands to do it because the shovels, they didn't want to damage the body that was in there.
Yeah.
when they opened the mound, they found we'll say remains because there's not a lot here. They found the unclothed, mutilated remains of what they know to be a woman, and that's about all they know. Let me tell you, well, let's start with what's not in the grave. The parts that are missing.
Oh,
there's quite a few of them. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Hands and feet are gone. Both breasts have been removed.
Oh, boy.
Cut off. The head is not here at all. And the left arm has been removed. But
gone.
The left arm is in the grave, unlike all these other items. The
what?
Hands, feet, breasts, and head are nowhere in the grave. In the grave is the torso with a right arm attached, a left arm severed, feet, hands, everything cut off, and the left arm is between the legs of the torso. Not in a sexual way, they made sure to say that.
Just laying there.
It wasn't jammed in there or put placed to be funny or any of that bullshit, like someone trying to be an asshole. It was just, that's where there was room. So it was the most efficient place to put it. So they put it there. Okay. That counts a lot for when they're trying to look for a suspect, whether this was some sort of post-staging sexual thing, or if it was,
and if the mutilation is in a sexual nature, that's fucking psychotic.
It's
that's an even
thing.
More dangerous person.
Now, the torso, by the way, is not just okay and lying in there with everything cut off of it. The torso has been completely mutilated.
Really?
It's been cut open from the breastbone to the pubic bone, sliced open.
The whole belly open.
The whole torso open, and all of the uterus and stomach and all the sexual organs have been removed. All the organs have been taken out. Harvested. So this is just an open torso with two legs, one arm, and one arm stuck between its legs. Oh, this is... Imagine finding this.
No.
This is... fucking horrifying. So, I mean, never mind the person who had to go through this, but the people who found this would be like, holy shit, this is, you don't find a worse scene. It can't get, normally
when you find one like this, there's another somewhere else.
Yeah, this isn't usually the first time you've killed somebody. You're like, let me take them apart and see what that game Operation was made about.
It's a real.
Oh, that's where the pancreas is. That's disturbing.
Opening the body is... Dissection is so much.
That is scary. So a little while later, and we'll talk about it, they're going to discover another part of it, and then a part of her, and then another part of her. About 39 feet from the grave, under a bush, they're going to find something. They discovered, they end up with a dog. They find one of the breasts under a bush, 39 feet from the grave. And the deputy who discovered the tissue said that there was grease or a skid mark about 2 feet long that led under the brush. He said it was like the rolling of the dirt as if the item had struck the ground and skidded up underneath the bush, like he just threw it under the bush.
Chucked it.
If you were trying to ditch something and you just chucked it under the bush and it bounced and rolled off the dirt a little and went under the bush.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're trying to ditch a bag of weed from the cops or something. That's
wild.
So about 75 feet from the grave site as well, they locate a large, heavy, wood-splitting maul.
Okay.
Now, everybody know what a maul is?
Yeah, it's the big one.
Big, pointy...
Yeah, it's like an axe.
But heavy and nasty, and it's nasty. It's a big, nasty instrument.
Like a 30-inch handle and heavy. It's like
heavy.
8 pounds, something like that.
Pointy and heavy. To split wood, for Christ's sake. Yeah. I mean, it's heavy. So... They said that the maul had clearly been used in excavating the shallow grave. That's what they used to dig, which is why it didn't get very far, because that's not the best digging implement, a maul.
That'll tire you out.
Yeah, it's like digging with a butter knife. It'll loosen the ground up, but then you need to scoop it also. It doesn't have a lot of spooning features on a maul.
And you figure you probably start digging and you get about a foot deep and you go, that's fine. And then you lay something in it and you go, oh, that's not deep at all.
And that's what it was. The body was like even with the ground, and then there was just like an inch of dirt on top of it, so you could just see a little mound in the. But they didn't. It wasn't in the shape of a person because it's open
not a
torso
person anymore. Yeah,
it's fucking disturbing, man. It's Jesus Christ, that is terrifying. So the mall also had traces of blood at the base of the metal head and on the wooden portion at the top of the head, as well as at the bottom of the handle. It's got blood on it, too.
Okay.
So it's been used to dig and probably for other things here.
Yeah.
They were unable to determine the blood type because there was an insufficient quantity of blood, and it's 1985 also. So, yeah. They also were unable to recover fingerprints from the handle of the mall because it was wood. And they don't have like touch DNA and any of that shit back then, obviously. So, Jesus Christ. So that's how that goes. So in addition to that, they find a bunch of physical evidence, including blood stains and hair recovered from the edge, the gravel at the edge of the roadway. So before the dragging. So hair and blood stains, like someone was being beaten and dragged by their hair and probably fighting.
Likely, yeah.
Otherwise, you wouldn't have to beat them and drag them by the hair. Right. So you wouldn't do that by the roadway. You'd wait till you got in private unless they were fighting you to get there. And her personality is, I ain't fucking going in the woods with you, asshole. We're getting it on. I'll fight you if we're going to do that. So, Jesus Christ. The hair was found to be similar to samples later taken of her hair, of Sant's hair, taken from a brush and some clothing that she had. And similar hair will also be found in other places like Wes Hamilton's truck later as well.
Oh.
So by the way, the drag from the road in is 200 feet long.
That's a long way.
For 200 feet. Dragging dead weight for 200 feet is a lot.
That's a long way.
A very long way. It began at the road and ended at the grave. There was numerous spots with typo-positive human blood all along the way. Both Sant and Wes Hamilton have that blood, since he's been seen with her. Also, officers recover blood samples from stained soil and a tree and sagebrush branches along the drag trail as well. Oh. So it's you're bumping into stuff. They said that one area of the drag trail is what they called the mutilation point because it was just covered in blood. That's where they think things were being dismembered possibly or cut open. They found a piece of cardboard with blood on it and a blood-stained beer bottle in the bushes as well. 2 bloody fingerprints are on the outside of one of them and one just inside the neck. So that's a pretty good indicator.
Yeah. In 2015, this is open and closed. The amount of evidence they're leaving is crazy.
They're finding the guy, bringing him in. While they're talking to him, they're downloading all of his cell phone evidence.
Yeah.
And in 18 minutes, he'd be indicted and fucking,
We've already
he's
seen
done.
Everything you've searched on the internet for the last 15 years.
Done, and done. So there were the fingerprint on the outside will later be identified, as we'll talk about. Another one is similar, but it didn't have enough detail to positively identify. Now, this beer bottle is manufactured. The bottle itself, they found out, was manufactured between September and December of 1979.
How the fuck do you figure that out?
They figured out there's certain markers on the bottles that tell you where they were manufactured, and there's certain markings that they put on them through certain time periods, so they know
when.
You can look at it, and the Anheuser-Busch can tell you exactly where that was bottled and when.
And that was 6 years ago this bottle was made.
Yeah, 6 years ago this bottle was made. It would have been shipped, though, to the bottler within 30 days of manufacture and filled and shipped immediately to the distributor, they said. So, old beer, I guess. Let's get to an autopsy, and then we'll get back to more evidence here. Yeah. All right, this is rough, everybody. So, strap in for this one.
But it was fast.
It was, this coming up. Oof. The killing, you mean, was fast?
No, I mean the autopsy. There's not a lot to weigh and measure, for Christ's sake.
Not a lot to look over, no organs to look at to check all that out. So it required a forensic anthropologist comparing features of the torso with a recent X-ray to confirm that it was Sant Miss Sant. So all the body parts were missing except the one breast that they found. Yeah. The doctor acting as the state medical examiner examined the remains of the body and through the X-ray records identified the remains through a spinal feature that she had. Something unique to her spine that they were able to find out it was her because she had an X-ray that was taken while she was a student in Cedar City. So thankfully for that, it's the only way they were able to positively ID her because no teeth, there's no fingerprints, there's no nothing otherwise. And back then, this is before everybody had tattoos and shit, so there's really not a lot of...
very little physical features.
Not a lot to go on. The doctor says that the marks on the body were consistent with the removal of the head, hands, feet, and one arm with a blunt instrument like the wood-splitting maul.
They took this shit with that?
They chopped a young lady up with a fucking maul,
with a maul.
Not an axe, which is still horrific. Chopping a body up, you need like a very specific instruments for that. That is not a, mob guys, they had a very specific stuff they'd use for that. That wouldn't be
this is just like
what you got in your trunk.
Right. It's a very spur of the moment thing, but also like brutal. Like
this is what
if you saw that and were like, "This is all I've got," you'd be, well, then I guess we don't dismember today. Jesus,
fuck, man, that is horrifying. He does also say though the incision in the torso was made with a sharp instrument like a knife, and that the incisions around the breast were made with that same instrument. So they were. Okay. He did have a smaller knife to do that. Yeah, to make the sharp. Oh God, Jesus. So the doctor also says that the presence of blood and hair samples that appeared to be somewhat squashed or stuck in the gravel near the road implied that the victim suffered a blow to the head. Without the head, it was unable to determine the cause of death or whether the incisions and mutilations of the body occurred before or after death. They don't even know how horrifyingly this, torturous this was. Mm-hmm. But they're assuming, based on the blood and the hair, that it is probably a large head wound from the maul that caused this. Yeah. So they're going to search this area very well on August 16th and 17th because they're trying to find body parts. So they found the large pool of blood. They found the missing breast, which was discovered by a dog named Sue Bear. Sue like the tribe, not Sue like a lady named Sue. Not a boy named Sue, a tribe named Sue.
Sue Bear. So it's like
a
bear clan of Sue. Yeah.
Yep, that was the German Shepherd. Trained in evidence hunting and found she found the breast. They also found no clothing, no jewelry, no personal belongings, no effects. All they found there. They said that you could tell by a mark on the ground and by the location under the bush that the portion of the body where the breast had been thrown, they forensically, not just an eyeball, they figured out that's where it rolled and everything. Also the bloody beer bottle. With the 2 fingerprints on it. They said that the one fingerprint looked like the fingerprint looked like it had been made by a finger being put on the bloody surface, like the blood was on the bottle when the finger made contact with the inside of the neck of the bottle.
Oh.
So it was like it was there. It wasn't put there by the finger. The finger smeared it.
Or like the finger is trying to get it out of there?
Or get it out of there. Yeah, get that blood out of the top of my bottle so I can drink it, which is, get a new beer. Come on.
Yeah, I think that one's done.
I think you're done there. Another fingerprint on the outside of the bottle was made by a bloody finger touching the bottle. So it was just like an ink fingerprint, only blood.
Right.
Perfect.
Which is like the most incriminating thing.
A fingerprint in blood is the worst thing you could get, possibly, for evidence. That is just really lazy.
It's like having Bruno Mali's stepping in blood puddles.
Yeah. This is so lazy. Like, this is the only thing you could think is either the person who did this or people who did this were absolutely just craven and didn't
bloodthirsty.
Bloodthirsty and just were ripping someone apart and didn't really think about where they were doing it. Or they really thought that no one will find this in here.
Nobody
will find this person here. This is good. And if they do, by the time they find it, it won't connect to me. Fuck them.
Right.
Which it's just a very and
that area, though, that area leads you to that conclusion, though, because when you're it's just trees and mountains.
That's why when you were saying, and I remember I've been there. I've driven from Denver to Salt Lake.
Yeah, that
and it's
turn.
the 70 to the 15. It's right there.
As the freeway bends right there, you just look around and you're like, this is beautiful, but no, this is nothing. Nobody gets to see this. This is crazy.
You go through there, then you turn up into the mountains, and then you're just in the mountains until you get to Salt Lake. Hey, everybody. Just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Sono Bello. You know, the most known secret with celebrities and influencers and all these famous people is so many of them have had lipo. They've had lipo, whether it's a little touch up here or a total makeover.
Yeah.
Nobody has a perfect body. That's the thing.
No.
They may look like it on TV, but there's things that help that. Absolutely. Lipo now has changed, and Sono Bello's been at the forefront with using LAL technology and getting those beautiful and natural outcomes for each person. Looking real natural. Our friends at Sono Bello are offering their best deal. You're now included in their winter savings event, but appointments are limited, so please get on this. Sono Bello doctors are masters in micro laser fat removal, a brilliant technique that removes stubborn fat permanently. Wherever your problem areas are, tummy, love handles, thighs, arms, it's gone in one comfortable visit. Eating healthy and workouts are great. Keep doing that, but if you want to lose that stubborn fat in one visit, check out Sono Bello. Save big during their winter savings event. Schedule your free consultation now at sonobello.com/smalltownmurder. That's sonobello.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about our stylish friends at Quince. That's right, let's go elevate your styles, people. Yeah. Get it going, look good out there, and you can do it now without breaking your wallet, without breaking the bank, because at Quince, you can get high-end, versatile pieces at prices we can all actually afford, which is very nice. You want to get good stuff that lasts and it's good, and they have quality stuff that's very affordable, and you can do like we did, upgrading our stuff here, while still being a very reasonable price. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. It's all quality stuff. You're going to love it. Trust us, it looks good. And I've got the leather jacket. It's a very high-quality item. Real nice, soft leather. Yeah. Jimmie's got his linen pants he's rocking.
Yeah, they're terrific.
Come on, be like us. Be fashionable. Get in there with Quince. Indulge in affordable luxury. Go to quince.com/smalltownmurder for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/smalltownmurder to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about a very cool place, Thrive Market. Yes, we are both looking to get into the healthy swing this year. The problem is I don't know what's in everything, and I don't know if even I'm qualified to even read the labels to know if that's good or that's bad. Right. There's chemicals in things, and there's things floating around. I don't know what I'm doing out there. One of my favorite features, and I know you were talking to me about this, is the Healthy Swap Scanner in the Thrive Market app. Yeah, it's simple. You scan any item, and it'll instantly suggest a cleaner, healthier grocery alternative, which is
it's great.
Amazing. Yeah. That's great. Thrive Market also takes the guesswork out of finding these safe, healthy foods. For example, like I'm trying to get my protein intake up for energy. I'm always moving around. I need stuff, and I love that you can filter their site by the high protein options.
Nice.
It's very cool, and you can personalize this portion, and you can put filters on it. And get ready. You should be ready for a junk-free start to 2025. Get ready for it and head to thrivemarket.com/smalltownmurder and get 30% off your first order plus a free $60 gift. That's THRIVE market.com/smalltownmurder, thrivemarket.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Wow. So, wow. They said that the deputy said they took the bottle and photographed the fingerprint. And it's a good thing because later on, the bottle was taken to the state medical examiner's office and packed in foam, and there was dirt on the bottle. The dirt rubbed around and got rid of the fingerprint when it was moved.
Oh, God damn it.
The bottle slid around. So luckily they took a picture of the fingerprint and they were able to do it that way. Otherwise they would have lost it.
Etch-a-sketched it on accident.
Yep, they fucked it all up. So they said it would have been lost. The blood type was determined to be Sharon Sance. And the fingerprint on the bottle turned out to be some good evidence, obviously, because it's not hers. They also collected 5 Budweiser cans near the drag trail as well.
Huh.
They got 4 fingerprints from 2 of the cans here. And we'll find out who those belong to here in a second. And the weird thing is, I'll tell you now who it belongs to. 2 of the fingerprints belong to Wes Hamilton.
Yeah.
The other 2 belong to get care to... No.
What?
Not Bob Billy Bott, a guy named
Sharon?
Michael Perry.
Oh,
who
where
will
you been, Mike?
never come up again in this entire episode. It'll never come up in the story with the police. It's fine that he's.
Yeah.
I don't get that. So
was he the clerk at the
that's
M&D?
all I can think, or somebody who stocked the cans, possibly somebody who had something to do with the sale of the cans, because evidence showed that 3 of the 5 beer cans were filled on July 2nd, 1985. Fresh beer.
Just now, yeah.
And possibly were packaged together. The can with 2 of Hamilton's prints was one of the 3. The 4th can, which had no identifiable prints, was packed on July 1st, 85. The 5th can, this is the disturbing part, which had the fingerprints of Hamilton and Perry. You know when it was packaged, Jimmy?
That day.
August 5th, 1985.
Oh, boy, brand new.
Yeah, that means this took place on August 1st, the murder.
What?
That means somebody came back. With fresh fucking beer.
At least 4 days, maybe more.
Yep. Sometime between August 5th, I mean, it would have had to get sent. So sometime between, say, August 8th and August 16th, when this was found, when she was found, somebody came back with new beer. That is, and it had to be because that was when it was made. So you could.
Yeah, it wasn't even packaged by the time this girl disappeared. So,
oh my God,
what the fuck, man?
Yep, the Budweiser representative testified that later on that the Budweiser cans, the first batch, not the August batch, were packaged in a 12-pack purchased from the M&D Market in Parowan on August 1st. Yep. So that says this motherfucker, somebody came the fuck back. Wow. That is insane. So they're trying to figure out clues. They have these fingerprints, but at the time, Wes Hamilton has no criminal records. So they don't have his fingerprints on file.
Oh.
So they have they put it in the system, doesn't come up as a hit for anybody.
Shit.
So they have these mystery fingerprints and nothing to do with them at this point. Sure. So they call in, they talk to all of Sharon's friends, and they get one friend and they want to take her to the site because they're going to take her and a psychic also.
Okay.
They get to the point, because right away it's such a mystery, and you know how deserted that is. If you got out of a car on that intersection and someone said, okay, solve a murder here, you'd look around and go,
a trucker did it.
Yeah, guy in a truck. There's nobody here. Who the fuck could have done it? Like, where do you even start? So that's what they do. The psychic was asking the friend on the drive up to there things about Sharon, personal things to kind of get an idea. And the psychic said that she could smell alcohol in the situation and that there were 2 perpetrators and they drove an old pickup truck.
What the fuck?
That's all she had on it, the whole thing. So they said, well, that's not quite enough to make an arrest. So rather than a psychic, let's put you aside and let's try the FBI. Maybe they have more. Maybe their techniques are a little more narrowing.
Impressive what you just did, but didn't do anything.
If I saw that, I'd probably go, a couple of drunks in a pickup truck, too, just as a guess. You know what I mean? Just as a guess.
Booze, pickup truck. I mean, these are all very obvious things to say. Even though they're specific, they're still, I mean...
It's still, you know...
Probably the closest guesses you could say for any crime ever.
Yeah, it's pretty goddamn... I mean, she nailed it. She wasn't wrong about any of that shit.
Yeah.
So the FBI comes in and they need a profile. They're going to try to work up a profile here. So as her friends and family gather at a memorial, the federal law enforcement officers try to figure out what's going on based on the psychological clues that are left behind, because that's all you can do. It's you want to find the artist, look at the painting theory that John Douglas always said, you know. So they said that it will be prepared for submission to the behavioral science unit. At the time, this is John Douglas and all that. I mean, that's them at Quantico, and they're going to work up a psychological profile. They said the senselessness and brutality of the murder are the best evidence left behind, and they show a lot. And they also, that's why they brought him in, because it's so brutal. And they said the FBI said, too, someone who did this is going to kill again.
Oh, for sure.
This isn't a one-time, just wanted to see what was in there type of thing.
Right.
Like, I was just checking.
Person. Yeah.
This is, you've done this before, and you've worked it out to this point of what you want to look at and what you want to pick at and what you want to do. This is scary. Very scary. So they said that the signs are that this was not impulsive at all. This is a planned thing, at least for a little while, not for weeks, but it could be even for 2 hours. It didn't happen spur of the moment, and a product of a very, very disturbed and extremely violent person that's very dangerous.
It's a bad individual, yeah.
They said this is Detective Sergeant Robert Decker, based on what he heard from the FBI. He said they're not going to stop on their own, meaning the murderer. They're not going to say, I'm sorry I killed someone. Unfortunately, it will probably help in solving future crime because we suspect the murderer will strike again. They said they hope the strangeness of it will progress and we'll be able to tell at least they're the same person, maybe. Right. Which they're like, we know it's probably a serial killer and hopefully we get him type of thing. So that's, at this point, they're looking at this as like, a Ted Bundy situation, obviously, picked up on the side of the road, dismembered and dumped and all that shit. So they call it a motiveless crime. They said that this is the hardest to solve because otherwise there's usually robbery, jealousy, abuse, insurance, child custody. There's always someone who's pissed off.
Leads a suspect to us and gets us at least a lead interest and lead list. Here you get nothing.
Yep. So they said that the mutilation of the corpse says that it's nobody of that nature. No one who robs someone then mutilates them. That's not they were just robbing because why not while they were already there. But that wasn't the main motivator, was rob, you know what I mean? So jealousy, obviously, for that. Sometimes you'll get a lot of stab wounds, a particularly, egregious attack on somebody, but you don't get, I'm going to cut them open and spread their intestines around southern Utah. That's not a...
Passion is one thing, but this is desire.
This is different. This is disturbed, calculated.
Yeah.
I'm going to cut this person open, and I'm going to
This is all on purpose.
I'm going to take these parts with me, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm going to take them with me. I mean, they might have been eaten by animals, too, but
who knows? Yeah.
Not the head. The head's, someone fucking took the head and hands and feet. And, wow. So the detective sergeant said the manner of the killing leads us to believe the killer has a serious mental disturbance. He's crazy. No shit. And the most obvious, really. And it's snowy in the mountains. Okay.
You think so?
Yeah. Wow. The sky is blue and this guy's crazy. So they said the bizarre character of the killing makes it a perfect candidate for the profiling, which is based on the assumption, obviously, that everything a killer does is on purpose and giving some clue. And the weirder it is, the easier it is to find somebody usually because it's very specific. So the profile screening agent for the Salt Lake City FBI office said the process is a combination of art and science. Obviously, if you've seen Mindhunter, that's what he said at one point too.
Did he?
Yeah, I think. In the
show,
Holden said that. Yeah, I think Holden said it. They said, for example, and here's some interesting ones: a killer who brings their own weapon anticipates the crime.
Yeah,
that's why they brought their own weapon. They would stalk, and if they're stalking, and while one who uses whatever is at hand is likely to have killed impulsively. And they said a brutal facial attack indicates the killer knew the victim, and how quickly the victim is killed can show how sadistic or how fearful of being caught the murderer is.
Right.
This person was very comfortable with where they were and what they were doing.
Sure.
To do what they did, they had to sit back and just fucking kick it. And I mean, this is a project.
Nobody will hear your scream kind of thing.
Yep. Ain't nobody gonna hear you. So they said also statistics help, showing those, such as those showing most motiveless murders are interracial, meaning black people kill black people, white people kill white people. That's most motiveless crimes. And most victims are women and children, and most of the killers are men, just statistically. Look on Murderpedia and look at female murderers and look at male murderers. It's not even close to the same amount. It's thousands off. Yeah, it's just we're made to be slightly more aggressive, let's just say. So based on that, also the murderer's disturbances also stem from such things as they can look at backgrounds, broken homes, and the inability to have normal relationships with people, sexual relationships and, romantic relationships. So they said, obviously that seems logical, but when you put everything together, it paints a pretty good picture of who the fuck it is. The one agent said it can show rage, hate, love, fear, irrationality, which is to the untrained eye might not be seen. And it's worked. It's very possible that a profile can identify this individual, as they did a lot. They said that the personality that Sharon Sant's murder indicates They said that Bertram said the mutilation and burial indicate an organized plan of murder. He's not a disorganized. Sure. Yeah. If the body was above the ground
and just left out like that,
or just shoved under a bush or something, that would be disorganized because they didn't even know what they were doing. But this person dissected, took their time. They said that. They said authorities are telling everybody to lock their fucking doors, basically, because there's a very sick person out there that will take you apart. So they said they're also seeking word all over the state of past killings that may be connected, because they're like, this. The FBI guys said this is not this person's first murder by any stretch. Like,
they've done this before. Yeah,
this is a thing. They're into this, but they figured out what they like already. That's really in. They said telexes sent through the National Crime Information Center brought responses from Idaho, Arizona, and Nevada, which are also investigating amputation or decapitation killings, but none of them exactly match the Utah murder, which there's a progression, so that makes sense. Yeah. Do you have somebody maybe with all their organs in them but missing hands, feet, and with one arm between their legs and a head? Yeah. Do you have that? Maybe then he went to organs after that? We don't know. They said they did come up with the profile saying the killer is a manly type.
Oh?
Real, like, I'm a man type of guy.
Tough guy. Yeah.
Tough guy. Smokes Marlboro Reds, they said, probably.
Really?
Not a light cigarette. Smokes Marlboro Reds. Drinks Budweiser beer.
Yeah, Bud heavy. Yeah.
Bud, Marlboros. They said he's a recluse. Doesn't hang out with a lot of people. And works with his hands and has a violent side and has had a history of having a violent side. If you talk to people who know him, they're going to say he's violent.
He's violent, yeah.
So that's the profile they're looking for, which is...
Yeah, a guy that's capable of this is not calm, sweet, and kind. He's very loud about what he does.
They're saying drive right by the church parking lot when you're looking around for this guy, which should make it easy, honestly, because that you're taking out 80% of the population probably.
Right. Yeah.
Literally, and then you go, okay, who's the 20% that drinks beer and drives an old pickup truck and smokes Marlboros? Because most of those people don't, and it's a lot less of a amount of people. This goes on for months. January 29th, 1986 comes around. They still have precisely Ugats on this entire murder.
5 months. Yeah.
5 months. Finally, an anonymous informant telephones the police.
Why is always this?
Anonymous for a minute anyway. He says that Wes Hamilton might have participated in Sharon Sant's murder. He actually said, quote, George Wesley Hamilton may be involved in a homicide of a female, is what they said. And then they said it's the Sharon Sant person, and it was an anonymous call that was made by a man saying he knew a guy named Robert Bott. I know this guy named Bob Billy Bott. Yeah. And I know this guy named George Wesley Hamilton, who may possibly be in jail at this moment for a DUI that he just got in Washington County, Utah.
Mr. Parkinson's, please tell me more about...
So I would look into the connection between the missing girl and the guy you got sitting in jail and then fucking hangs up.
Yeah.
So the Millard County, whatever it is, Millard County authorities said, let's find out if this is true. Let's find out if there's a George Wesley Hamilton in Washington County, and we'll fucking compare the fingerprints. What does that hurt?
Sure. Yeah.
We got nothing. It's been 5 months, so fuck it. That's something.
We can at least work on the case a little bit.
We can give it a shot. So they contact the Washington County authorities. They said, we sure do have a George Wesley Hamilton, and we'd be happy to send you his fingerprint cards. They sent him down, and motherfucker, they matched the prints on the bottle and the cans. So, by the way, the guy who called, Billy Bott.
Oh, was it?
Oh, yeah. It was Bott.
Why did he do that?
Yep, he called. Well, that's the thing. So a detective tracks down Bott, who was staying at this is the worst hotel name ever, the LUNT, the Lunt Motel.
Gross.
Which is partial. It's like a lump and a cunt together. That's a terrible name for a hotel. Awful. And Bott gave them the name of George Savage. They said, oh, no, I'm not Billy Bott. I'm George Savage. And they went, that's funny. And then they checked and they said, hey, that caller we had, what did he say his name was? George Savage. He didn't even think to use a different anonymous.
He used the same alias.
He AKA'd himself into a dumb shithole in the ground right now. What a fucking idiot. So, yeah, He did that. He said he'd been talking to Bot. That's what the Savage guy had said. And that Bot told him that there was a guy he was terribly afraid of. That's what they said on the phone. So he said, listen, this is what Bot's saying. He goes, I know a guy who knows a guy, but I don't know anything.
Sure.
He said, the guy that my friend's afraid of is a woodcutter. So he's saying, I'm George Savage, not Bob Billy Bot. But I know this guy named Bob Billy Bot, and he's afraid of this guy named George Wesley Hamilton.
Because he's a woodcutter.
Because he's a woodcutter and a scary guy. And I love the one detective. He said, quote, Bot himself is a weird guy, and he was talking about this other weird guy, Hamilton, to yet another weird guy, George Savage, who really is him. So he's like, this whole thing is fucking ridiculous, obviously.
Everybody's weird.
That's what I mean. So they asked him, too, well, what are you doing here, George Savage? And he said, it's my job to investigate things. He said he lives in seedy motels all around the country and that, I'm the guy who investigates stuff. So I was looking into this and I figured this out for you. Enjoy.
I'm
welcome.
The worst Batman on the planet. I solve them after they're done.
That's the thing. So they said, well, how did you put this all together? Because we had the FBI in here and profiling unit and
they're the best.
They have experience. They caught, serial killers and such. How'd you figure this out? And he goes, well, it's because Hamilton's a weird guy and he's a woodcutter. So I just put two and two together.
I knew it.
Weird guy, woodcutter, boom, done. So
I knew that's who would do this.
Yep. He said he remembered something in the press about a wood-cutting mall that was found at the scene, and he thought about the weird guy who lived in the Lunt Motel, who was Bob Billy Bot, who was actually the guy fucking talking. He thought that if Bot was afraid of Hamilton, then Hamilton must really be something. That's what he said. He goes, because that Billy Bot's Bob Billy Bot's a weird guy, so if he's afraid of this guy, that guy must be really fucking over the top crazy. Wow. So this guy just said, I thought it was a wild guess, but it's worth a try. So I called the cops and told you about it. Mm-hmm. So the problem is Billy Bot has now put himself in the situation because he said there's this guy, Billy. Yeah. Rather than just saying, I'm Billy Bot and I think my friend killed a guy, he did all this weird shit.
I'm somebody else and I think this guy's afraid. If I did it, this is who did it.
This is who did it. If that guy did it, who's certainly not me, because I'm a different guy. So they get all of this. They get the fingerprint here. They're going to arrest Hamilton, obviously, because his fingerprint's on there and blood. That's pretty obvious. And Billy Bot is now a suspect, too. Sure. He said, quote, this is what he said. Hamilton said, quote, they get Hamilton in the box. He said, I didn't kill her. Bot did.
Oh, boy.
He said, we were both there at the same time.
Oh, don't. He's bad at this.
This is not good. That's what Wes Hamilton says. Now, Bob Billy comes in, and he said that he and Hamilton picked up Sharon when she was hitchhiking, but it was not me. Hamilton took her to the Willow Creek Ranch near Paragoona. That's what happened, and I wasn't even there. We'll get into this. Okay.
There's a better story.
At least that's a story. It's not.
Yeah,
there's a guy I know who knows a guy who's afraid of a guy because he cuts wood. That's not a good story.
Yeah, I just told you that I was in the presence of a hitchhiker that is now missing and confirmed dead, but I didn't put myself in the murder this time.
No, at least that's better. Yeah. They said during an interview with Hamilton, he told us officers of the Millard County Sheriff's Office that Robert Bott was present at the time of the killing and said that Robert Bott did kill Sharon Sant at Cove Fort and participated with him, George Wesley Hamilton, in the burial of her at Cove Fort site where the body was found. That's what they say. So after several weeks of investigation, they're both charged with first-degree murder and aggravated kidnapping. Bob Billy and George West.
Of course.
So, by the way, they called George Wesley Hamilton, this is the newspaper's description of him, quote, a tall, craggy-faced man described by acquaintances as a drifter is in jail to stand trial. That's what you've been broken down to. A tall, scraggly-faced man described by, not even by friends, by acquaintances as a drifter. That's fucking amazing. He's on trial for a horrifying axe mutilation. That's a good way to put it. So, fingerprints now. On the same beer can that the fingerprints are on, Hamilton's fingerprints, are the prints of an ex-convict associate of his.
Oh?
That is going to be the Perry guy, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. His friend here has, or I don't think it's the Perry guy, I'm sorry, but his friend also has a criminal record. His prints are on the can here. Because of the fingerprint, they thought Hamilton brought this other person back to the scene, had to have taken somebody back to the scene. So that's what they think. They think maybe Perry was the guy he brought back after to show him what he did or something. Yeah. Or maybe not even show him. Maybe just take him there as a place to hang out and drink, just as that would make him feel cool that he knows he's got a body around there.
Wow.
They don't know. So it's fucking interesting. They said that the FBI said that's a rather common thing for them to go back, which is it is, especially in a situation like this. He got real deep into this one.
Right.
Didn't just bonk somebody over the head and push him out of the side of the car. No. They were deep.
He saw things.
Yeah. They said he probably knew, what he was doing. They said they don't come back to clean up the scene of the crime. They come back to say that they have this deep, dark secret that they know about and that nobody else knows about. And it's not them that did it. It's somebody else. So that's they think. Weird. He took somebody back there and goes, I know where a body's buried. Some guy I know who's crazy told me about it. So they arrest Bot. Bot says, quote, no, we all stopped off at the ranch. That's where they work, near Paragouna. And I got sick there and laid down to take a rest and passed out from all the beer we'd been drinking. And when I woke up, Hamilton was gone and so was the girl. So that's the story he's going to tell for about another year or so before he changes it.
That he got sick drinking Bud and passed out.
Passed out, and then he woke up and they were gone. So whatever happened at Cove Fort, I have no idea, and that ain't my problem. He'll change his story hardcore in April of 86. I mean, hardcore, so a few months later. So there was no evidence like fingerprints against Bot, except the only thing is Hamilton's statement. So at the time of the hearing, they said that, they didn't know what to do with Bot, so they decided to cut a deal with him. They have no evidence against him, but he seems to be willing to tell them that this guy killed her. So fuck it, let's make a deal. So they make a deal here, and they told Bot his testimony was critical because he put Hamilton and Sharon together, and also because Bot told of Hamilton making some, quote, real strong sexual advances toward Sharon, and that Bot said also that Hamilton had been fondling her body and that she slapped him and told him to leave her alone, which sounds like her.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. So they end up cutting a deal with Bot, and they dismiss charges against him, but he becomes a material witness. Okay. They said, since he's a drifter and a hitchhiker and what they called a, quote, this is amazing, jump on the train hobo type, he'll grab a bindle and be in the wind before you know it, buddy. I'll tell you what.
On the train? Oh, my God.
Imagine, a jump on the train hobo type. Literally will hop a freight.
Yeah.
So this is
in 1985 and 1986, and people. It's unbelievable. People don't realize it's still going. That's a lifestyle.
Yeah. If there is any open field anywhere near a train yard, there's a lot of hobos in it. I'll tell you that.
Wild.
Like the train people, hobos.
Yeah.
Specific people. So. Yeah, they said that that's what they did, so they arrested him as a material witness because, we can't trust this guy to fucking show up on time in a suit and tie. Are you kidding me? He's going to show up washed? No. Don't think so. So he's not allowed to leave the country also here. So he stayed here and hangs out and does all of that. In April, the state's ability to prosecute Hamilton for the murder became a little bit questionable because Bot now changes his story.
What is it?
Now he says, I was there when Sharon was killed.
Oh, you dum-dum.
I was there, and I also helped dismember her and hide her body parts. So they didn't just leave them there. They actually hid them. He also admitted to investigators that he, as he put it, sexually assaulted Sharon before the murder, meaning Bot.
Why is he saying all this?
He admits to all this because now he's got fucking immunity.
Oh.
They gave him immunity, and now he just says, oh, by the way, I did a whole bunch of stuff that you can't prosecute me for now because you gave me immunity.
What the fuck?
And that's what happened. That's it. He believed he'd been granted immunity, and the deputy Millard County attorney, Dexter Anderson, said he discussed immunity with Bot's attorney before Bot made the statements. Now we'll find out some stuff. This is the county prosecutor talking here. He says at that time, Robert Decker was spending an incredible amount of time investigating the case. That's the detective sergeant. It turned out that he could talk to Bott better than his own attorney could. So we were thinking about offering immunity to Bott if he would go out with Decker and tell him the whole story, because at that time, Bott was saying that he trusted Decker more than anybody and was ready to tell him the whole story.
Interesting.
This is when the legal problem started, he said. In Utah, the only kind of immunity you can give is immunity to the crime. You cannot give use immunity, which means the person is immune from the use of information that they have given against them. So in other words, it's not just a case of being able to use their statements against them. You have to forgive them for the crime itself. That's how immunity works, is they have to be totally immune. That's just how it worked at the time. So they said only two people can grant immunity. One is the state attorney general, and of course, he's not going to give state granting immunity in a case like that. The other is the county attorney. That's me, the guy says.
So one of them is not the investigator?
Well, yeah, the county attorney is the guy talking that I'm quoting here. He said, that's me. He said, so Ed Phillips and Robert Decker, Ed Phillips is the sheriff. Sheriff and Robert Decker is a detective sergeant. He said, we're in my office one day and we were talking about it. We mutually decided that possibly the only way this case is going to get broken open was to give Bott immunity. And at this time, Bott was telling Decker that he could tell us how the murder was committed, and he wouldn't actually tell him. He would just say, I can tell you. So basically, if you want to give me immunity, you're going to know all the stuff. Otherwise...
There's ways that we can do this, or there's ways we can't do this.
Yep. So Ed Phillips, Robert Decker, and John Soltis, who is the prosecutor who's going to actually try the case in court, and myself decided we were going to sit down with Bott and his attorney and ask Bott's attorney to tell us the story that Robert Bott could give us. We were going to tell him that if he would give us a good enough statement on how the murder was committed, and if he correlates it with physical facts so we know that you're telling the truth, and if you can tell us where missing body parts are, then we'll cut you the immunity deal because we need to know the truth in this case.
Right.
Right when you do that, you are giving him immunity because you can't just give him immunity for what he says. It's got to be for all of it. That's the
confession,
rule.
Yeah.
Right. So they just legally fucked themselves out of that in Utah. So he said, so Ed Phillips left my office and went back to Fillmore, and there was a conversation between Phillips and Dexter Anderson about what we talked about a few minutes before that. Then later, Bott's attorney, Milton Harmon, who just happened to be in Fillmore working as the public defender for Millard County, came into Dexter Anderson's office, and there was a conversation between them. Harmon left Anderson's office and went back to Bott and told Bott to go with Robert Decker and tell him what he could. So they did that. Bott went with Decker. He told Decker the story, saying that Hamilton killed her at Cove Fort by hitting her in the head with a large inch and a quarter end wrench. Hit her with a wrench, not even with the maul.
Oh my God, an inch and a quarter wrench.
Yeah,
that's the big fat fucker.
The honking one there.
The one that tightens a hitch nut.
Yeah, well, exactly. Not like a little ratchet you got.
No, it's 2 feet long.
Yeah, it's a big fucker in a garage, like in a
right.
Yeah,
hangs on the wall because it doesn't fit in your toolbox.
Yes, it's huge. That's what he hit her with. Hit her with that. A combination box end open end wrench. He also told the story about how the body was cut up, and so forth. So Decker called me up on a Saturday night about 9:30 and said, "Good grief, here's the story I got." Was this Charlie Brown calling me?
Yeah.
Good grief, Lucy. We lost 85-0 again.
You're just going to move the football.
And I said, why did he tell you that? And Decker said, because he thinks he has immunity. And I just went, bah, like, no, he doesn't. He said, my first thought was, I didn't give immunity. We've got a real serious problem here. I got John Soltis on the telephone at his home, and we called Bott's attorney. Bott's attorney said, sure, my client has immunity now, so I told him to tell everything. We spent until 3 a.m. on Sunday morning on the phone with these various people. And then the director of the statewide association of prosecutors and John Soltis and I spent a significant portion of the next day on the phone. We knew how the murder was committed. We knew that Bott was involved because he admitted assisting in cutting up the body, not to killing her, but to cutting up the body. He was also guilty, therefore, in obstructing justice by not reporting the crime, by helping Hamilton conceal the evidence also. Bott told Decker that he could lead him to the missing body parts, and that turned out to be a lie as well.
Oh, he can't do it.
Can't do it, which, I mean, the animals could have taken.
Yeah, they could be gone, yeah.
So they said, now we knew he had two problems. One was that the statement that was given may have some lies in it, obviously.
Yeah.
So then we thought maybe Bott is more involved in this than he's telling us, which had been kind of what we were worried about all along. Secondly, now, Bott thought he had immunity and may therefore actually have had immunity as to the statement he gave. In this event, we couldn't prosecute him based on the statement he gave because we had given him immunity, because any statement made while you think you have immunity or reasonably believe you have immunity cannot be used against you.
Sure.
So the interviewer asked this guy, why did Bott's attorney think he had immunity? Doesn't there have to be a document drawn up or something officially written? And he said he thought he had immunity based on the conversation between him and the attorney, who told him he had immunity because that's what he thought. So they said, can immunity be given orally without written documentation? And he said, no, it has to be at least, I wouldn't do it without a signed agreement. In fact, an agreement was prepared so that if he delivered on telling us where the body parts were, we would have signed an agreement granting him immunity. But when that turned out to be a lie, I refused to sign an agreement because he had lied to us. And they said, so why would an attorney, speaking of Milton Harmon, reach for the immunity that he knows his client doesn't deserve? And he said, because Bott wasn't the murderer. So they said, do you believe that Bott wasn't the murderer? And he says, I believe that, and I don't say that frivolously. I say that based on evidence and on our reconstruction of the crime, also on the reconstruction of the crime by a behavioral science unit in Washington, D.C. with the FBI. Interestingly enough, they constructed the crime scene of the crime the same way we had. And the way we constructed it has Hamilton as the murderer, Bott as the tag-along accomplice that can be pushed into doing darn near anything, including helping cut up a dead body. So we think that Hamilton was in fact the murderer. We do not think Bott was the murderer, but we do think he was an active participant in the conduct leading up to the murder and some of the conduct after the murder, but not the murder itself. So, yeah. So there you go. And he said that nobody knew he was cutting up the bodies at first because there were no fingerprints. Nothing ties Bott to the crime scene except for George Wesley Hamilton's statement, who is on trial for murder.
Yeah.
So there's no other evidence other than the statement that Bott gave us while he was thinking he had immunity. So if you take that out, how are you going to charge him? So that's kind of how that goes, which is fucking wild. Then they said, couldn't he have been convicted of sexual assault, abuse of a corpse, and obstruction of justice and not murder? Yeah. And he said, under those facts, he may have been an accessory to murder, which would have been at the most second-degree murder, but that would not have been under the confession he gave. Under the confession he gave, the murder was a spontaneous, independent act of Hamilton, and I do not believe that under the information we had, Bott would have been convicted of murder. He said there's a problem with the way the immunity thing came about, but the end result is that it gave us information that we would have never had otherwise. Right. So, okay. By the way, in the end, they don't even use Bott's testimony. He
really?
Can't even testify because he's such a fucking disaster.
Because he'd ruin everything.
Yes, basically he'd ruin everything because he's a mess and you never know what he's going to say. And if he says one thing off, your whole case is fucked.
Yeah, which is fascinating because he's the only reason we're here at the moment.
Yep. And he doesn't have like a qualified immunity thing. Yeah. Like it's not based that he has immunity. So he can go up there and go, I cut her throat. I cut her throat and I fucked her eye holes. And there's nothing they can fucking do about it because they've already put a blanket immunity on him.
Wow.
And then they have no case and he can go ha 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 and leave and they can do nothing about it, which is awful, obviously. So he's never tried for anything either, Bott.
What?
Never tried for a fucking thing because he's got immunity for all this shit.
I guess they figure we'll get him one day for something. It's going to happen. If he does this,
he'll tag along with another idiot. So they end up charging, obviously, Hamilton with murder, aggravated sexual assault, forcible sexual abuse, all this type of shit. So Bott here, his story originally, like we said, they've been drinking all day. They gave her a ride as far as the Buckhorn Flats bunkhouse that they shared, and he passed out and all of that, obviously, and then he changed that story. So when they talked to Hamilton during the interrogation, he implicated Bobby Billy Bott. He said that Bott had been sexually abusive to Sharon Sant and later hit her on the head and killed her.
Oh.
So all that stuff I did, he did now.
Yeah.
Just say he did it. So he said the implication led to drafting probable cause for arrest papers, and they were signed, and that's when they arrested Bott, and then he got out because of all of that. So holy shit, that's amazing. By the way, Bott, when they first arrested him, during the ride to jail, he had already implicated himself in the crime.
Hilarious.
He couldn't even wait to get to the jail and talk to detectives. He was just telling the uniform, I did it. So they said that they contacted the local attorneys, contacted the Utah Attorney General to help head the whole thing here because they said they don't have a lot of experience with this, which is good. They didn't just go, we can handle it.
Yeah, we got it.
They said, let's not fuck this up. You know what I mean? So at first, when they reviewed it, they said, we don't think we have sufficient evidence for prosecution here on him, on Hamilton. We have fingerprints, but everything is all muddled up with this bot guy.
Right.
They're going to use him as the boogeyman.
It's going to be so easy for them to ruin everything we've got.
Yeah, they can say anything they want about this guy. They can use him as this shadow figure. We can't put him on the stand to at least go, look, he's not a monster.
Right.
Because he might be a monster on the stand. So
and they get to cross-examine if we put him up there.
Yeah, that's the other thing. And they get to shred him apart that way. So Bot's charges dropped, like we said. Not enough evidence to take him to trial. They said that's the only way this is going to work is if Bot testifies against Hamilton. So first thing for Hamilton, is he crazy? He's been called crazy in the paper by police. So a psychological evaluation of Hamilton done in November showed that Hamilton is not mentally ill. Crazy, yes. Mentally ill, no.
Yeah, shithouse rat, but
To cut somebody open and start playing around in their organs is fucking
be a
crazy.
Specific guy,
Yeah, you're crazy. That's definitely under the crazy banner, I would say. But he is proved competent to stand trial.
Uh-oh.
The psychologist's findings caused Hamilton's attorney to withdraw notice that he'd given the court that he planned to use the insanity defense because he was like, this is crazy. Look at this fucking shit. I can't. Crazy. Look at him.
And now you said he's competent. I want nothing to do with this at all.
Yeah, that's fucking interesting. Now, here comes his trial. First thing is, will Bot testify? So they said, this is what the prosecutor said. Quote, now about not using Bot's testimony. There were two reasons why we didn't. I'd love to hear them. I really would.
Both of them? Yeah.
I think both would be necessary.
Yeah.
One was that we did not want to grant that low-life immunity.
Okay.
You already did, though. That's the problem.
Yeah. By not having him there at all, you're certainly doing it.
Now he doesn't even have to answer for shit. You could have cross-examined him at least and made him look like a piece of shit. We morally and ethically could not do it. I had to make that decision personally. And those were my reasons. Secondly, we interviewed him carefully and at length up until 2 weeks prior to the trial. He was so inconsistent and lied to us so much in his statements that we could not in good faith put him in front of a jury and say, believe this man.
Yeah, listen to him.
He's going to lie and go back and forth, and the other side's going to shred him, and you're going to look terrible for putting him up there. He said, we think we would have lost the case if we use him as a witness. Yeah. The jury we have is an excellent jury, but they would have looked at him and said, what on earth are you guys doing? You gave immunity to this creep and you expect us to believe him?
Right. Why'd you do this?
Yeah. So they released him from jail on August 17th, 1987. Bot.
Go on home.
Go on home. The county attorney said, we're not pleased. We had wanted Bot committed, but neither of the two psychiatrists would sign for committal. They tried to have him committed just because they wanted him not to be on the street. So they had no criminal charges. They're like, maybe we can say he's crazy. And he just what about bobbed them. He went in there and they came in. They're like, oh, he's delightful. What are you talking about?
He's wonderful.
We're all drinking Budweisers and hanging out in here. You get him out of here. He doesn't belong here.
He's invited to Thanksgiving, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, bring him back for Thanksgiving, though, because he's invited. We all want to talk to him. We want to see him again. Yeah. So they wouldn't sign the order. So they said in order for the person to be committed, he or she must be considered a danger to self or a danger to others. And, so the defense attorney, they asked him, and he said, quote, he's gone. What is there to say?
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's over, yeah.
That's that. So, the charges are dismissed due to lack of evidence against Bot. And by the way, Bot also, since the time he's been held as a witness, that entitled him to $14 per day witness fees. That's since this started. So the county, once they dismiss the charges and tell him he doesn't have to testify, they owe him over $6,000 also. So not only did this guy get to walk out scot-free, they handed this fucking guy a check. Just, hey, you know what? Start over, buddy.
6 G's. Get on out of here, sir.
For a small county, that's a lot of money in 1986 or whatever.
6 stacks. Have a nice day.
Yeah, that's a lot. That hurts. So $6,000 they had to give this fucking idiot. This guy wins the He's fucked the whole county in the ass award. He really does.
He got racks for getting him to.
Wow.
And gave him immunity. There's nothing they can do at all to him.
No, just do what he wants. So they end up having to reduce the charge on Wes Hamilton to second-degree murder. Because, you can convict a person of murder as a party to the crime, and they think that they're going to be able to muddy the waters enough to where they're not going to say that Hamilton did this all on his own. Because they
got a weak-ass case.
Yep. They don't have a witness to say, I saw him do this. They got
his fingerprint and blood. Yeah. Believe in yourself, guys.
But they also have another person's fingerprint and blood, and why are we not talking about him? Where's he? Yeah. Why aren't you showing me him?
We'll get to that.
Yep. So that's wild. They said you don't have to prove who struck the fatal blow for second-degree murder. They said, now, we knew that these two were at the crime scene. We had very reliable information in the form of FBI reconstruction and our own, and that Hamilton was the murderer. But none of the reconstruction information could be presented to the jury. Couldn't put it together and go, this is what we think happened. Well, what is your proof? Oh, well, we don't have that, but we put it together.
We think.
It'd be like in Jury Duty when they put together the virtual reality fucking like the little virtual act out of the crime. Like, you can't do that in a criminal trial. They said, so we had to reduce the charge to second-degree murder because we did not have any direct evidence as to who struck the fatal blow.
Oh, boy.
So they said after the prosecutor studied the material, they said that this was the most difficult case they'd ever reviewed, and then they went to trial. They said they laid it out. They said, quote, this is where we are. If we use bot, we can go capital murder. If we don't, can we go capital murder? And they looked at it and they said, no. They said it's a capital crime, but they said if you go capital and you have to use bot, you're really hurting your chances for a conviction.
Yeah.
Now, they said, is it Hamilton, they're talking about him being worthy of capital punishment to, murder a woman in the course of a sexual assault, get you there. They said, but it's not worthy of capital punishment to kill her and then sexually mutilate the body, which is what they think also might have happened. They don't know.
That's not capital?
That's not capital.
Holy.
Capital beforehand, once they're dead, you're not inflicting pain anymore. That's a separate charge. That's messing with a corpse. Yeah, abuse of a corpse, which, by the way, we'll find out is not a crime in Utah at this point. After all this, they passed like an abusive corpse law. Like you can't fuck dead people. Did we mention that? We forgot that. Don't do that,
I'm good and
please.
dead. I don't want anybody doing that to me, so we need a law about it.
No shit. Well, especially it's weird because they say if you're killing someone, then mutilating the body sexually, that usually means you killed them so you could sexually mutilate the body, which is the same as if you killed them so they couldn't tell that you sexually assaulted them. It's the same shit. It's ridiculous. Now, here's a good question. An interviewer asked the prosecutor here. They said, I thought any premeditated murder could be a capital offense, which is what a lot of people think.
Rakuten is the smartest way to save money when you shop because you earn cash back at over 3,500 stores. Fashion, beauty, electronics, home essentials, travel, dining, concert tickets, and more. Your favorite stores like Lowe's, Levi's, and Nike pay Rakuten to send them shoppers. And Rakuten then passes on a part of that payment to its members as cash back. You're already shopping at your favorite stores. Why not save while you're doing it? It's a no-brainer. Membership is free and easy to sign up. Get the Rakuten app now and join the 17 million members who are already saving. Cashback rates change daily. See Rakuten.com for details. That's Rakuten. Your cash back really adds up.
Escape reality and immerse yourself in a gripping tale of mystery, murder, and romance with June's Journey. Join June as she unravels the truth behind her sister's mysterious death, and use your observation skills to find hidden clues and uncover dark secrets. Plus, you get to explore stunning hidden object scenes, from New York parlors to Parisian sidewalks, as each chapter reveals captivating mysteries. How sharp are your observation skills? Put them to the test in June's Journey. Download for free today on iOS and Android.
And he said, no, it isn't. You have to meet specific aggravating circumstances. Killing a person for the purpose of sexually mutilating the body is not one of those circumstances.
That's crazy.
Isn't that wild? They said, now you can bet, and we have the permission of the Sant family to do this. Sharon Sant wanted to do great things for law enforcement, and we think that maybe she might yet do these great things by allowing the example of her murder to show why those two statutes need to be corrected. So we'll be going to the legislature to try to get those changed. So anyway, the charges are, like we said, reduced from first-degree murder to second-degree murder. On the day of the trial, they do it.
Wow.
Right away. The prosecutors say they're not going to call Bob Billy Bott, and Bott is going to go free. They said they had to reduce the charge, and the jury, 6 hours of screening potential jurors. The process, by the way, in Utah, you can do a smaller jury. We've gone over this before.
A 6 juror or 8?
8 jurors. So they have 4 men, 4 women select for the jury, and a 5th guy is an alternate.
That may be that way for small towns because sometimes you can't get 12.
There's certain laws that where they do it, and we've gone over it before, and I don't remember the specifics. I don't want to fuck it all up and give dumb laws that aren't laws.
It's got to be something to do with the population, though, right?
I don't think so, honestly.
Really?
It's, maybe they made the exceptions because of that, but that's not like, you can't just say it's a small town. You only need 8 people. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Now, during the openings here, the prosecutor, Warren Peterson, he gave the opening statement. He said that at the time, he said that it was a somber responsibility of the prosecution team to establish the guilt of the defendant. That's what he said. He said to establish that the defendant was a party to certain murder in the second degree, forcible sexual assault. Now, he went on to say that the prosecution planned to recreate in court events leading up to the murder. They said witnesses would testify to seeing Hamilton and Bott together on about August 1st and saw then that they saw 2 wood-splitting mauls in the bed of Hamilton's pickup truck. Documents, charts, diagrams, photographs, and evidence as beer cans and bloody beer bottles here found from the shallow grave will be here as well, given the whole deal. When he's done with his opening, with all that evidence, fingerprints, witnesses, we're going to put them all together, we're going to do all this. They asked, what do you say, defense opening? And he says, I think I'd like to ask for the charges to be dismissed. I mean, obviously they have nothing.
Can we go home?
And they said, yeah, there's nothing we can do here. I'm not even going to give a statement. And the judge said, no, it's circumstantial, but we think it's sufficient for an opening statement. So we're going to let it go on. You need to actually have a trial here.
Yeah, we're moving forward.
So the medical examiner, comes in and talks about the wounds. And Sharon's head was cut off approximately 2 inches above her shoulders, middle of the neck. Both hands were missing near the wrists. Her left arm was partially amputated. Both feet were missing above the ankles. Both breasts had been removed with a sharp instrument, and also, like we said, the incision in the torso.
Yeah.
And they said that the wounds around the amputations indicated a crushing removal, such as could be made by a wood-splitting maul. So it's more like a crush than a slice kind of a thing. Also missing is several organs, including her uterus. And it is the contention of the prosecution that along with other body parts, these sexual organs were specifically targeted for removal from her body. Oh, my God. They tried to talk about, insect levels for decomposition and all that sort of thing, which is very technical scientific stuff we don't need to get into right now. They said there was no internal or external evidence of sexual abuse, and it's that more likely that the uterus had been physically removed, which we know there was sexual abuse because one of the guys that did it said he fucking did it.
He said it, yeah.
When he was immune. So they just can't tell because of the way everything has happened here.
We don't have any evidence of it. We just have words of it. Yeah.
Yep. They said that words we can't use, by the way. So the exact cause of death has never been determined. The doctor states that the cause was probably a head injury, but believes Sharon Sant was a victim of homicide, obviously. The characteristics, including no indications of abrasions or bruises, led me to believe that the victim was incapacitated or dead at the actual time of mutilation. Okay. So it wasn't conscious while her feet were being chopped off.
That's good news. Yeah.
That's for once in this case, there's some good news.
Silver linings, yeah.
Holy shit. So Sharon's father comes in and testifies. Okay. Robert E. Sant, who I believe is dead at this point. I think he died in 1989 based on what I found. But either that or it's his father. I'm not sure. So he said he talked about, the last time he'd seen his daughter and all that. Sharon had informed her father that her intentions were to return to Fillmore the following weekend, because she had been there the weekend before for a friend's funeral. At the time, she asked if he could spare a little money for a bus ticket, and he said he just didn't have it. And then he learned she might hitchhike, and he said, please, Sherry, don't fucking do it. But she did it. Another one is Jacqueline Smith of Parowan. She's a witness. She told investigators that she had seen Sharon, Hamilton, and Bott together at the grocery store in the parking lot on the day she disappeared. The grocery store where she saw them also buying the beer that is proved that they bought on there that day. Yeah. So when cross-examined, she admitted that she's nearsighted, though, and that she probably was not wearing her glasses or contact lenses that day.
Why?
So they said she said, I guess I didn't get that good of a look at the woman in the truck.
Oh,
because when she's shown a picture of Sharon by the prosecution, she identifies her and says yes. But then when the defense comes up and says, did you have my cousin Vinny'd her.
Yeah.
How thick were the glasses, dear? Okay, blah, blah. Okay, maybe I was mistaken. That's exactly what happened. So that doesn't help any. But let's bring out somebody that definitely helps the prosecution because it paints a picture of the man who we're talking about.
The 13-year-old?
The 18-year-old who hangs out with the 13-year-old.
Yeah.
Rita Ann Weatherby is her name. And they talked to her for about 4 hours here.
Jesus.
And they had to stop several times to let her regain her composure from crying and all that. And her testimony is a fucking mess, by the way. Mess. Really? She testified she moved out of her parents' home 3 days after her 18th birthday, which was May 31st, 1985, and moved in with her 13-year-old friend, Vicki Hamilton.
Right.
Imagine what... I don't even know.
The reasons of that are numerous, I'm sure.
An 18-year-old is the best friends. If you have a 13-year-old, don't let them hang out. Don't let their best friend be an 18-year-old. And if your 18-year-old's best friend's a 13-year-old, worry about your 18-year-old. There's an issue. That's weird.
Yeah, she's probably sees herself as an equal to a 13-year-old, and that's fucking bizarre.
That's bizarre. And then she moves in, but she also doesn't think of herself as a child, I guess, because she has a
42-year-old.
Yeah,
right.
she has this wasn't like a non-consensual relationship. Right. She was into it. So, and she was 18. I mean, she was legally allowed to do it.
Wow.
I mean, 3 days after, but still. How can you do that if you're him? How can you be 41 and be like, she just turned 18? Like, ew. Jesus Christ. Tell her not to let anybody put things in her drink. Tell her to be careful. That's what you should be telling her, not to fucking, hey, come on over here, little mama. That's not right. So according to Ms. Weatherby, she left the Hamilton house on July 28th to go on a trip with her parents to Los Angeles. She returned on July 30th. That was the day that she saw Hamilton and told him that she was moving back in with her parents. She's moving out.
Yeah. Right.
She said Hamilton, quote, sort of cried, but I wasn't upset.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, they said the remaining testimony was just all contradictions. She told investigators shortly after Bott and Hamilton were arrested that she had been with both men on the day that Sharon disappeared. She also said repeatedly that she never met Bott until he came to her home and asked her for an alibi months later. She was saying these things at the same time. That I know him and was hanging out with him, then I never met him until December.
I never met him until then. Yeah.
Didn't make any sense, so they never figured that out. So the attorney pointed out that she had told defense investigator Krista Pickens in November 86 that she met Bott the time she was living with Hamilton. So according to one testimony, Rita Weatherby claimed Hamilton went to her in November 85, threatening to kill her if she didn't give him an alibi for the day Sharon disappeared. And when the Attorney General's investigator asked in an interview if Hamilton had used the word alibi, she said no. He just said, if anybody asks you anything, we was together.
That's an alibi.
We was together is an alibi in Hillbilly, yeah. Where were we? We was together.
We was together, yeah.
Yeah, so she lived there through that summer, though, anyway. And so then she said after that, he said that if anybody asked if I was with him, you say I was with you and my daughter. That's what you say. And then Weatherby asked, why do you need this? Why do you need me to do this? And she said that West told her, just do it or I'll kill you. And then, quote, she said later, he picked up a hitchhiker and took her home at one point.
Yeah.
Weatherby said that Bott also told her to provide him with an alibi for August 1st in a separate conversation. Bott said, do it or I'll beat you up, which is less than kill.
Yeah.
So he's a follower. He's not quite going to
also, or he's the leader. He's the one that comes through first, right? Because you can't kill and then beat somebody up.
So they testified that Bott also said that all they did was pick up a hitchhiker and took her home. That's it. So Weatherby also testified that she had earlier told investigators that Bott said, if you say anything about this, I'll kill you. I'll just flat out kill you. She testified that she was afraid of Hamilton. She said he became violent when he drank. She said he'd drink quite a bit. He'd get really angry and violent and have a violent temper. It was like something inside of him had snapped when he drinks. So during the cross, though, they said that you couldn't figure out what was going on. She said she feared for her life because Wes used to beat her when she lived with him. However, in an earlier documented interview, after she had admitted it, she said that he was mostly kind and nice and never hit me. So when confronted with the question of why she lied, she said, I was just afraid he'd find out. I was scared. I was scared to come out with everything. I was scared of Mr. Hamilton if he would find out what I was saying.
And, you know,
which makes sense.
She's giving testimony that would be so great if she kept it to fucking together.
Yep. And we understand where she's coming from. Obviously, things aren't terrific with her. And at the same time, she's trying to put this together. This happened a year ago. All this stuff. It's not her fault to keep, no one told her, hey, there's going to be a murder trial. Keep good notes. You know what I mean? She's just an 18-year-old girl who clearly has issues because she hangs out with a 13-year-old and fucks a 41-year-old. Right. So she said she was scared and all of that. So they said that the prosecution even became frustrated with her. During a break to allow her to get her composure, Assistant Attorney General John Soltis went over to her and angrily confronted her, which I don't know if that helps any. Hey, dumb bitch.
How angry? Like, what kind of angry? And as a prosecutor, you did this. You brought this upon yourself. You know what she's capable of.
He said at one point there was anger. It looked like he was yelling at her, and at one point he was heard to say, and just grow up. Stop hanging out with 13-year-olds. So the mall here, Ron Johnson, who owns the Ron 66 service station in Parowan, he said that a woodcutting maul showed to him in the courtroom was similar to the one he'd seen in George Wesley Hamilton's truck in late June or early July 85. He also described other woodcutting equipment observed in the truck at that time. However, under cross-examination, he said that, the equipment that he had seen differed from his testimony in earlier preliminary hearing. And he said, I'm sorry that conflicts. I can't explain the discrepancies. I was confused then, but I'm not confused now.
See what happened. I was confused.
This is not helping, by the way. No. Then they get a criminalist in there. Martha Kerr, who's a state of Utah lime craboratory. I almost said.
Lime craboratory.
Crime laboratory, criminalist here. She testifies regarding the results of a test she conducted on the blood and hair samples related to the crime. They said Sharon Sant's blood was type O. Blood consistent with her type was found on and in the beer bottle, on the cardboard found at the Cove Fort scene. Hair samples examined at the site were similar to those of Sant's and displayed damage typical of a crushing blow made by a blunt instrument.
Huh.
Jesus Christ. They also said hair samples found in Wes Hamilton's truck were also similar to those of Miss Sant. However, those were all from individuals who had been in the truck and were not taken or examined because they said hair sample. There was too many hair samples. So also pubic hair from the crime scene was dissimilar to Sharon. So that means someone else had their junk out.
Yeah.
Because there was sexual stuff going on here. Your pubes just don't pop out.
Yeah.
So they said neither pubic nor head hair found at the scene was similar to Hamilton's either, though.
Right.
Gee, wonder who they're similar to. Could be anybody. Throughout the trial, he displayed no emotion, West George here. He appeared to listen intensely as testimonies are giving some written memos to the defense investigator
right.
and all of that. They said that nothing had really pointed to his guilt. So his defense here, they called Joe Guerrero, 15 years old at the time of the murder. He worked for the Parkinson Ranch there with Hamilton. Sure. And he eventually lived with Hamilton also. No word if they were in a sexual relationship or not. Hopefully not. So he said that he and another boy named Tom Quinn had helped load and stack wood cut by Hamilton. He said Hamilton used a woodcutter's maul owned by Quinn's father. He also said that he had dated Hamilton's daughter, Vicky, who he said was 13 or 14 at the time. Everybody's just dating everybody. He identified one of the pictures as Hamilton's truck, the flatbed truck, and also said that he did not know if Hamilton carried a pocket knife. The prosecutor puts earlier statements up to him where he said that Hamilton carried a buck knife in his belt and a pocket knife in his pocket with a 2.5-inch folding blade. And he goes, oh, yeah, that's right. That's true.
That's his stuff.
So he gets up there, says, no, he doesn't carry a knife. And they get up and they go, but you said he carried a knife. And he goes, oh, yeah, he carries those 2 knives.
You don't understand.
Every witness is terrible.
Not. Those are specific knives. Those are his fun knives.
Those are just for a good time.
Those got jobs. He wasn't just carrying a crazy knife. He wasn't carrying a sword. I mean, I was saying.
I was saying like he wasn't carrying like a machete, like an ornamental samurai Japanese sword, like nothing like that.
Carrying one of those.
Just a buck knife, regular. A guy named Christ S. Beaumont comes in here.
Say again.
Christ S. Beaumont. I'm sure it's Christ, but I'm going with Christ. Christ S. Beaumont. Say that when you're upset. Christ S. Beaumont. Jesus. He's a mechanic. He said that he'd seen Hamilton, Bott, and a dark-haired girl enter a yellow flatbed truck at the parking lot of the grocery store also. He said, though, the truck belonged to Parkinson, who was the farmer that Hamilton and Bott worked for. So they tried to do all that. They called Colleen Renee Hamilton, who said she spent several days at her home in late November and early December. Here, she said that she had seen Bott on the highway in early '86, and he was carrying a small suitcase or an attaché case and a plastic garbage bag with something in it.
Oh, boy.
They also said they saw him on the highway carrying objects north of Paragouna shortly before he was arrested. Objects.
Oh.
Objects. Okay. Closing arguments. The prosecution says that beer bottle is screaming at you.
Yeah.
The silence of that bottle is deadly with that fingerprint on it. It's silent but deadly, he just said. He just SBD'd a beer bottle.
He just fart joked the whole crowd.
He just fart joked a murder jury. You know what, sir? My hat's off to you, Prosecutor John Soltis. You very rarely get a fart joke in a murder investigation, a murder trial closing. Yeah. Marcus Taylor, the defense lawyer here, he comes in with a different thing here. He says, listen, August is the 2-year anniversary of this tragic incident. Tragic incident. He might as well have called it an accident. Incident? It's more than an incident.
Unfortunate event.
Unfortunate, unfortunate sadhood. Like, just very downplay. He said, there has been tremendous effort on the part of many, many people to see justice while dealing with a matter of great weight. In this case, we have a tragedy. Let's not have another one.
What?
Like sending the wrong guy to prison.
Yeah. Let's not have a displeasurable outcome to this.
It's going to be unsettling. Dyspeptic, I'd like to describe it as. It's going to be dyspeptic, yeah.
Unsettling occurrence.
Unsettling. The jury was urged to look at the actions of Robert William Bott. Such actions were, he's the guy who did it, obviously, leaving the Paragouna ranch where he had worked, going to Salt Lake City, and registering in a motel where he was using a false address and name. Witnesses had testified that when Bott returned, he'd gotten rid of his personal belongings, which included clothes and tennis shoes. He says, quote, we don't know for sure what was in that bag or suitcase. It is just consistent with the events. As investigators closed in on and narrowed in on Bott and Hamilton, did Bott become nervous and do something with the clothing and body parts? Maybe we'll never know. It's just consistent, that's all.
Nice job.
Could have happened. Yeah, we don't know. He then compared Bott's actions to those of Hamilton. He said, did the defendant rush off? Did his cowboy boots come up missing? Because Bott's shoes were missing. Yeah. Did his cowboy boots come off missing? Mr. Bott's tennis shoes did. Were those tennis shoes blood spattered? I submit to you that they were, even though you have no idea whether they were or not. Yeah. No idea. Further, here, he said the mall left at the scene of the crime. Quote, would a killer go through such great lengths to conceal the crime and then leave such obvious evidence as a bloody beer bottle, a mall, and beer cans? Please. Actually, yes, because they didn't go through any great lengths to conceal the crime.
The man's had his fingerprints in blood.
Yeah. They went through great lengths to mutilate the body.
Yeah.
But then once they were done with that and done playing with it, they didn't put their toys away. They just fucking dug a extremely shallow fucking hole and just stuffed this poor woman in it and barely covered her up with pieces of shit. That is, that's disgusting. So they said that transportation crew members testified they saw Bobbert Billy Bott. I'm calling him Bobbert Billy Bott from now on. Who admitted to sexually assaulting Sant and helping dismember her body, walking along the I-15 carrying a plastic bag and briefcase. Did he again become nervous and do something with Sant's body parts? We'll never know, but it's consistent. He keeps saying it. I just want to keep in mind to you that it's Bott who's got immunity walking the streets and not my client, who some guy with immunity just blamed. This is crazy.
The guy with immunity just told everything, and we can't do anything about it.
Yeah, no shit. So the jury, they have second-degree murder to deal with and all of that. Now, by the way, somehow Hamilton has a wife again now.
What?
I don't know if this is his original wife or not. She's Korean, like from Korea, named Sun Sin, which is a hot porn name, by the way.
Pretty wild.
That's
yeah,
a
that
very
might be
good,
the best.
That's
Asian
a porn. That's a porn company that films only in like Florida. Sun Sin. You know what I mean?
Makes me want to search if I don't want to search.
No, you shouldn't search.
Korean. The girl probably has at minimum an OnlyFans.
If not her, just someone with her name.
Yeah, just someone named Sun Sin.
Yeah, exactly. That's out there. Sun Sin. It's got to be in Vegas or fucking Phoenix or something. There's got to be a Sun Sin. So he's now has a Korean wife who I don't know if, like I said, it's been a year and a half, so it might be a new wife. We don't know. But she cried out, quote, "It's not fair, it's not fair," when they came back with a verdict of guilty of murder in the second degree.
Shit.
So guilty, it's not fair, she screamed out, and then she and his teenage daughter, Vicky, sobbed and cried out in protest. That
it's only
fair.
Second degree.
And it's bullshit. So he's convicted of that. But they also, because they had no proof, they had to dismiss the aggravated sexual assault and sexual abuse charges as well.
Huh.
So it's just second-degree murder.
Wow.
Which
for a horrible crime.
It doesn't get any worse than that. You don't get any sicker than this. This is sick. Like, even if you have no problem killing somebody, even if you're like, I'll take a life. Do you want to fucking cut their goddamn torso open and play with their organs afterwards? Because that is a different level of fucked up.
That's a different level, yeah.
It's way different level of fucked up right there. So sentencing comes around here, and they tell him, you, sir, may fuck off. There's quite a big range in this.
Yeah.
5 years to life.
Holy.
Because that's the statute for second degree.
So you get 5 years, and then after that, you've got to come up for parole every year?
Not every year. It's every couple or however they do it. But Bott's a free man, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah. So the prosecutor, who was still pissed off about this, said, we also looked again to charge him with a crime, but we didn't have the evidence to do it with. So this was a travesty to let Bott go free. But the reason that it happened is because our Utah statutes, they've got to be changed on the immunity statute. That's why Bott got away.
Okay.
So this is like 3 different laws they need to change just from one case to figure this out. Also, the county deputy attorney clears the record a bit on Bott. He said because they didn't say a word because the trial was going on. So this guy said after a lot of frustrating silence, he wants to clear the records regarding himself and the murder here. He said he's been highly criticized, saying that he granted immunity to Bott. And he said, I haven't spoken. Due to the court's gag order, we weren't to talk, and conditions as they were couldn't. He said the information that appeared in the Salt Lake City Tribune article on June 7th, 87, had disclosed information from an unknown source, a mystery to him as well as to the county sheriff, Ed Phillips. They said that the Tribune article and one that appeared in the Chronicle Progress on June 11th were upsetting to him personally, for they painted me in a poor light.
Okay.
He wanted to point out that Bott was never the confessed killer of Sharon, and that I never sat and talked with Mr. Bott about being the killer of Sharon Sant or about anything else. Bar ethics prevented me from talking with Bott because he had an attorney. One cannot talk with an opposing attorney. But they said they wanted the detective because he's better at talking to him than his lawyer to talk to him. So that was after he had already declared. Once that happens, then they have to request you, or else you're fucking with them.
Really?
That's what they did with Dahmer. Once Dahmer was in jail and under an attorney, every day that Dahmer was telling them all that shit, for months he came in and described everything. Every morning they would remind him when they dropped him off at the end of the day. Remember, you got to tell them you want to see us tomorrow.
Yeah,
you have to request, otherwise they're not going to do it. They're not going to take you to us. So it's interesting. Yeah. So he said, the 2 articles painted me the wrong way. It sounded as if I had turned the killer loose, and that's just not fair. No, you turned a sadistic little accomplice loose because of dipshittery and just bad work. You didn't do well.
All right. You only had the anything because of the guy you let go.
That's it. The guy you let go. That's the only reason you knew anything. So they said, and without those fingerprints,
you got nothing.
Nobody's going for. That's the only thing that they were able to convict him on is fingerprints.
Mm-hmm.
They said, well, that's got to be that. So here's an interview with Robert Sant, Sharon's father. She said, due to the circumstances on the state's evidence screwing up on us, he's pissed, yeah. I feel that the trial went real good. I'm quite satisfied to get a conviction. I'm disappointed to not get murder 1 on him, but we didn't have an eyewitness, and I feel that without an eyewitness, the attorneys did the very best they could do. They said, how do you feel about Bott going free?
Uh-oh.
His answer should be, how the fuck do you think I feel? Are you stupid?
You want to fight about it?
I'll
fight you about it.
Yeah, his answer's kind of close to it, actually. Somehow, this state's got some screwed up laws that should be revised, and that includes that immunity law. I feel that law is wrong. It is the right thing according to the law to release a guilty man, but it is morally wrong, so that I wish that some of the people that passed that law would have to look at themselves in the mirror and tell the victims why they did it. I don't think they would come up with a very good answer. It's a very disappointing thing, but all I can do is hope that we can get some evidence on Bott and get him back here because he is equally as guilty as Hamilton. That's already sailed. He's got immunity for this case completely.
Nothing can happen.
He says maybe Hamilton did kill or make the final blow on Sherry. I don't even know. But I feel that Bott is just as guilty as Hamilton in every respect. And I've got my private thoughts on the matter. I don't think I will do anything on my own. In fact, I'm sure I won't. But I hope somebody does a job on him. He said, I'm not going to do it, but if you wanted to stab a guy, this would be the best guy to stab in the face.
Yeah.
Just the best guy. You're just in a bar fight. If you just felt like cutting his throat with a beer bottle. Just saying. Just a thing. So they said, are you feeling okay emotionally? Is it a relief to have the trial over? And he said, it's a relief, yes, that it's over. But I have a bad taste in my mouth because one guilty man is walking free. Mm-hmm. I feel badly about that, but I do feel I can sleep a little better at night, knowing that at least she's partially avenged. I realize that the man might be eligible for parole in 5 years. That's going to be up to the parole board. I hope they've got a conscience on them. I'm sure that most of the people have. If Hamilton and Bott both repent, will that bring Sharon back? Once they've done a foul deed like that, I think they should be punished to the fullest extent of the law. I feel that Hamilton has killed in a brutal manner, not accidental or anything like that. He deliberately killed her, killed my daughter. I think that he should suffer the fullest penalty on earth, and I know damn well that when he gets upstairs there that he's going to be judged. And I'm pretty sure that he's going to suffer for what he's done.
Yeah.
So he appeals. Hamilton does. He's the only one charged. So his lawyer said, we've got grounds for a new trial. The Attorney General's office agrees there was an error. The question is about whether or not it merits a new trial. Yes. So they said, should they allow a new trial, Hamilton will likely be transferred from prison back to Ed Phillips in the Millard County Jail. And his lawyer said technically they would have nothing to hold him in prison if there's a new trial. So they'd have to put him in jail because he hasn't been convicted of anything. Right. That's how it works. So they said if they rule against granting a new trial, the decision would have to be appealed to the state Supreme Court, and prosecutors would have the same options again. So the judge finds out about something that happened during the trial that fucked everything up.
Oh, no.
A juror, one single solitary juror of 8, for Christ's sake, or 9 if you count the alternate, had a newspaper article about the trial and brought it into the jury room during deliberations.
Why?
As like a point to make, something from the press, which is the last thing they tell you in court every day is do not look at anything about this trial at all. Okay, goodbye.
Get your information from the courtroom. Skip everything else.
Yep, the prosecutor said the juror pulled it out of his wallet. He had it in his wallet, pulled it out. And he held it up and said, you ought to know what's in this, or something to that effect. And all the other 7 jurors walked over and told him, put that back in your pocket. You're not allowed to do that. Put that back in your pocket. But this guy had a vote still. They said that the newspaper, had a lot of details about the trial and a lot of shit about botting it. That was the problem. So it was really good for the defense because this was all.
He didn't like that they were just what he felt was railroading a man when another guy's got immunity.
Immunity, yeah, which he's got a point there. Yeah. So Wes Hamilton's lawyers also point out that all the evidence used to convict him is circumstantial, which is not appealable. Whatever. That's fine. Yeah. Okay. They said although he recognizes a number of pieces of circumstantial evidence link him to Sant and the burial site, the thrust of his insufficiency claim is that the only real evidence against him is the fingerprint evidence recovered from the bottle and the cans at the burial site. In blood, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Bloody fingerprints.
It's fucking damning, man.
It's pretty good. It's a pretty good evidence there. He relies on cases from other jurisdictions for the proposition that fingerprint evidence alone, especially when found on a movable object, maybe it wasn't there. Maybe it got put there from somewhere else magically.
Somewhere there's blood with his fingerprints in it. Not
right
hers,
next to a grave.
And we're supposed to believe that that's
with her blood in his fingerprints.
It's the whole reason Patrice would never throw out a Dr. Pepper can. You don't do that. You can't just there's missing people all over the place.
Yeah,
and you can't
never
just
know.
Throw DNA around.
No, you never know that. Remember on The Wire? That's how they connected Weebay to the whole fucking killing from that one orange soda can. That's
very
what happens.
Ballsy to just throw your fucking DNA around.
You can't be doing it. Keep your DNA to yourself. Keep it all tucked in tight.
You don't know where bad things are going to happen.
How could you? That's the thing. So they said that they especially found on movable objects commonly located in places accessible to the public. So anybody could have got out of their car and thrown beer cans over there. Also, it's insufficient to support a conviction unless it can be shown that the fingerprints were left at the time and place of the commission of the crime. Well, her blood pretty much timestamps it to me. Yeah. Still alive enough to breathe or to bleed, and there you go.
Blood still fresh enough to be moved from somewhere to another piece with your fucking hand.
Liquid form.
You're too close. You're too close to a liquid body.
I would say you're too close to someone's innards at that point.
Yeah.
You have opened up a body, and that's not good. So they say essentially he argues that the evidence is insufficient because it does not exclude every reasonable hypothesis that the fingerprints might have been left at a time or place other than when and where the crime committed. They said Hamilton's interpretation of the facts and law relative to the fingerprint evidence is incorrect. They said there are two general approaches to weight that may be afforded to fingerprint evidence. I just find this interesting legally. The first, which is based on an American law report's annotation, views fingerprints evidence with skepticism. It says to warrant a conviction, the fingerprints corresponding to those of the accused must have been found in the place where the crime was committed under the circumstances that they could only be impressed at the time when the crime was committed. They said in the present case, the fingerprint evidence is considered along with other evidence linking Hamilton and Sant to the crime scene. It appears that there was sufficient evidence for a reasonable jury to find beyond a reasonable doubt that Hamilton was there at the time of the murder with the beer that he just bought that fucking day with that liquid fucking blood. Chick and then got her liquid blood on top of it.
Liquid blood.
So, yes. So they also said, they said that the judge at first was talking about the newspaper thing, and the judge even talked about agreeing with the fact that that wasn't okay, but that it wasn't enough for a retrial. That judge, the first judge, thought it wasn't enough for a retrial. That's why he didn't think it was that big of a deal and let the deliberations continue, even though he knew about that.
He already knew.
So anyway, this conviction is set aside from that.
Resentence or retry?
Retry. They have to retry him, which is difficult because they don't have an eyewitness and all they have is fingerprints still and unreliable people. So, but the second trial goes a little bit easier here. Somehow it goes easier for them. They just have the witnesses. There's a lot less bot talk.
Sure.
They still bring him up as a boogeyman, but there's less bot talk, and there's they still have the same people. I saw him there and with her buying that beer that he found his fingerprints on.
Yeah.
Yep. Also some of the witnesses who kind of hurt the prosecution a little bit, the woman who said I recognize her, then said I didn't have my glasses on. Now they know that and they know how to approach her differently.
Oh.
So now they approach her and say, is she similar? And she says, yes, I saw a woman with light brown hair and light short brown hair and glasses that looked similar to that.
describe her rather than
being able to rip her positive ID to shreds. You just go, I think so. So the defense will go, you're not positive, and you go, no, but just like that.
That's what I said.
Which makes you look like you're honest, and them look like they're trying to, fucking
pull one over on you.
Yeah, pull one over on us or whatever the hell. So the attorneys involved in the case here, this keeps going and going and going. It's being tried in Provo, I guess, this time. They moved
way
it
up north.
Yeah, from here, definitely. So the case, they said, has been on the fast track to get it going and all this type of shit. They had a lot of beer distributor people. The testimony from the Budweiser beer distributors proved that the cans were of recent distribution and sale. No one chucked it there 6 months ago, and he just picked it up and threw it aside. They said that they even got the ranch hand guy to say Wes was a leader and Bott wasn't. So they're trying to do that. They said that also that Parkinson said Bott and Hamilton, neither of them worked for him between August 1st and later in the month, which was the day this happened, which doesn't look good as well, considering they were. Parkinson also testified Hamilton carries 2 knives with him. People testified about his truck, about his wood-splitting mauls, same shit, and they find him guilty of second-degree murder again.
Yeah.
Suck it. So, sentencing here. The prosecutor urges the court to recommend parole be denied, have it be like with some stank on it. He said, the evidence has shown in 2 trials that he's guilty of a most grievous and horrible murder. The nature of the crime is such that there's no margin for anything other than the statutory sentence. So he said Mr. Hamilton's ability to make it in society and opportunity were nullified in the commitment of this grievous and horrible crime. There is no reason to impose further risk upon society. He said that I don't care where he's jailed, because he said I have no comment on where he's jailed. That's up to the Department of Corrections, but he will soon be getting a pension from the military.
Wow.
And he said that he asked that when Hamilton's child support and a $5,000 obligation had never been met, the rest of that pension to be given to the county as reimbursement for legal fees paid in defending him in the first trial. Some reimbursement, because in the first trial, they argue about that because in the first trial, there was no reimbursement. Now they want reimbursement, too.
Now they want his money,
So the defense said that Hamilton has major problems with alcohol abuse and also impulse control.
Yeah.
Those go hand in hand, generally. He said that when he became aggravated by his use, which that would become aggravated by his use of alcohol, again, pretty common. He said, I would hope you would put him in a facility where he can receive some alcohol treatment. I don't think it'll matter from now on.
Help the guy?
They said that he be jailed. He hoped that he's jailed in Millard or Iron County instead of the state prison. He said because the alcohol rehabilitation and mental health programs are so much better in those facilities. So that's where he wants him to be.
Alcohol withdrawals, that's the only one that you need a medical professional to monitor. That is ugly. So if he's in prison going through that, holy shit, he might swallow his own tongue, man.
Christ, he's already gone through it 2 years ago, though.
Good point. Yeah.
He's been in jail for 2 fucking years.
Also, he doesn't need rehab.
If you're on enough pills, that'll kill you when you stop, too, if you do enough pills.
Yeah.
The wrestler Raven talked about that he was doing 150 Percocets a day.
While
150. No, that's what he was doing on a norm.
My.
And then he went to rehab, and they went, what? How much are you doing? And they were like, holy fuck, we got it. You're going to die if we stop you doing that. You will die. It's going to happen.
It's going to fuck you up.
He said, we got to, de-escalate that shit. Holy shit. But so his lawyer also says, Jesus Christ, he said, give this guy credit for time already served.
What?
He's already been in for a while, so that's something.
Enough?
Yeah, he's been in for 4 years. He said then that he, give him treatment for his alcohol and mental health while he's in there. He said, given proper treatment, Mr. Hamilton could make it in society.
Functioning member.
No, I think that's over. I think that ship has long fucking sailed there.
For sure.
Wow, that is fucking insane. They said, anything to say for yourself, stupid?
Yeah, please, talk.
He said, and this is really dumb, quote, sorry it had to be this way.
What?
Sorry it had to be this way?
What does that mean?
That doesn't sound right. I don't know. I wish I could. I wish I fucking knew. Sorry it had to be this way. I wish there was some way it could come to an end for all of us.
Oh, my. Unpack that.
What the fuck does any of that? Yeah, that's what I mean.
Needed it.
You can take that statement, and I would love to see 5 psychiatrists just bat that statement around, because it is. I wish there was some way it could come to an end for all. Does that mean some way I could die? Or does that mean some way you all could just forget about it and I could go about my business?
Right. Some way I could do this again and you guys would just stop talking about it.
Just kind of cut the shit, maybe.
If you guys would shut the fuck up and let me be, that'd be nice.
Maybe kind of shut the fuck up a bit. You ever think of that? So, yeah, I believe in 89 is when her father died as well. I believe it's either that or her grandfather, one of the two. So, wow, that is some kind of balls. And they sentence him to, you, sir, may fuck off again, 5 to life one more time.
Okay.
Hit him with it again.
Yeah.
So he appeals his conviction to the Utah Supreme Court on the grounds that the circumstantial evidence was insufficient to support the case and that the jury was not given proper instructions about fingerprint evidence. Remember, it's very specific. And that the judge shouldn't have allowed testimony about an unrelated assault on another woman, which is everybody he comes in contact. Seems like he assaults everybody. So
stop hitting people, man.
Yup. This is in 1991, and his appeal is denied.
Yeah.
So get back in there. 1994. In the Millard County, in the juniper-covered foothills, as this article says. Here we go. The 85 slaying of Sharon Sant has been solved, and a killer, George Wesley Hamilton, is in prison. But Phillips knows, that's the sheriff, Ed Phillips, knows he didn't act alone, and it bothers him to no end that a man who admitted he helped chop up her body is walking free. He said, quote, "It's the only one that I go back to. It's the one that in my mind remains unfinished." Bothered him. Yeah, they said that they spent weeks searching for body parts, but none were found. But in 1994, a deer hunter out in the woods comes across a sun-bleached skull.
Oh, boy.
That Phillips said he is, quote, all but 100% sure belonged to Sharon Sant.
Oh, no.
The skull minus the jaw with a single tooth still in its socket.
Really?
Which maybe can help, was found within a quarter mile of the homicide scene. So unless other people are losing heads in this circle, more than likely. They said the skull also shows evidence of the type of blunt trauma investigators know that she suffered, wounds that match with the maul.
Yeah.
Or with the wrench, I mean. So this is...
oh, that's right, the open it, yeah.
This is her, unless he's got other people he's scattering their skulls out. They said it was sent to the Utah Medical Examiner's Office, where they hope that a forensic odontologist could match the dental records to the one tooth. They said that there is no dental. They couldn't find dental records, though. So they're having an expert for Sharon. So they said that they're having an expert match the skull to the photographs of her, and they can recreate her, as they do that now all the time.
See, they said if her tooth would rest where that one is.
Where that one is. Plus, they find when they fill it in, they do that all the time. What the hell is it called? Anthropological reconstructions like that. Yeah. So he said that otherwise, though, we're fairly convinced, considering it was found a stone's throw away from where the torso was found, the age and size of the skull is also consistent with her.
Yeah.
Also found in the area, a small piece of bone that may belong to a human hand or wrist. So we may have found one of the dumping areas here.
Yeah.
They said they will return to the area to look for animal burrows that maybe they can go into, dig up, and find more shit in there.
What?
Said if we find a fucking burrow nearby, we're going to dig the top of that shit out. We're going to fucking see where it goes and see if they have any bones down there.
That's a crazy choice to make, though.
Yeah, let's follow the groundhogs.
We're going to follow every raccoon den around here?
That's
Jesus
it. We're going to dig if there's anywhere near. That's where we're going. So that's really wanting to find that shit, though. He said, quote, "There's a lot of pack rats in that area, and they may have carried a tooth or other bones down into their holes."
Oh.
He means literal pack rats, not like
actual...
what your spouse calls you because you want to keep your fucking phone box. I'm talking about
show on A&E.
Yeah, it's not a show. Yeah, it's not because you like to keep the phone charger from the phone that you haven't had for 3 years. It's a different kind. He said, "We're going to dig them up and look." They said, if the skull is positively identified, it will be turned over to Sant's family.
Okay.
I think you can go ahead. You can go ahead and hang on to that, I would say.
Or you could go ahead and.
What am I supposed to do with it? We've already buried her. What am I going to do? Open the hole back up, throw that,
put it back in there.
Hey, we got more. Anybody got a crowbar? Can we? No, it's you guys hang on to that. I don't know though. I don't I've never had anybody try to give me my child's skull, so I might want it. I don't know.
I guess that's part of the grieving process is putting it to rest with the rest. But they do it when they dig up like some foundation and they find they give all those people back to the rightful owners.
You have to. Yeah, I guess you have to. So they said the sheriff said the discovery revives his frustrations with the case. He'd kind of gotten over it, and now it's back again. Sure. He said in some ways justice was served, though not to his liking. He believes the sheer brutality of the crime warranted the death penalty, which just the law didn't. So 2012, he is appealing again.
Jesus.
He's still in jail. He still has never made parole. When those details come before a parole board,
it's ugly.
You don't go, oh, well, this is a guy. I mean, I'm sure you're fine now. Just having a bad day? Is that what happened? No. They know that wasn't the first or the last.
Sure.
Anybody with half a fucking brain knows that. So in his appeal, he argued that, because now it has to be for like he got fucked over type of thing,
right,
that the DNA testing on the blood-stained beer bottle found at the crime scene and a hair found in his truck will prove that he's framed.
Oh, is that right?
Been framed. Yep. But the Attorney General said that Hamilton did not show evidence, didn't show the evidence was in a testable condition, as is required, or that testing could prove that he was innocent either. They said even if this comes out as what you say it is, still doesn't prove you're innocent, and it's not testable. This is shit from 30 years ago that isn't good.
Liquid blood in a fingerprint
off.
in it.
Yeah. So they said he said there was also significant other evidence tying him to the crime, including witnesses and everything else, and this one thing, is not going to make it any fucking different here. So that is denied as well. Now Sharon, after all of that, was finally buried fucking properly by her family, not by this monster. She's buried in the Fillmore Cemetery here in Millard County. Also, by the way, she was born in Winnemucca, which is another tiny small town murder town. Yeah, she was born there, went to school in another one, and then here. This is horrible here. Now George Wesley Hamilton is still in prison.
Good.
Nice to see he's still alive and fucking serving it. That's good shit.
He's in his 80s, yeah?
He's born in 44, so he's going to be 80 this year.
Yeah, no shit.
He's going to be 80 next year. July 24th, he'll be 80. There you go. He's offender number 20260, if you'd just like to find him and maybe call him a douchebag or something. That's fine.
Totally sucks.
He's in the Oquirrh, Oquirrh, Oquirrh housing facility in the Utah State Prison. By the way, he's 6'2", 218. He's a pretty big guy.
Big guy, yeah.
I pictured him smaller for some reason earlier, but that's him there. So that, everybody, is Fillmore / Cove Fort / Parowan / Cedar City / fucking Utah. So, God damn it, that is Millard Fillmore, baby. That's a terrible story.
Unbelievable.
An absolutely awful story. Jesus Christ. Who the wow.
One got away. I mean, somebody else did something here. Yeah.
He got to walk. Now, granted, I doubt it was his idea.
Right.
But
his own words say he did it.
Participate. Yeah. He said he fucking raped her before they killed her, man.
Wow.
Think about that. We kidnapped a hitchhiker. I raped her. Then he killed her and dismembered her. Right. Have a good one, everybody. I'm going to go live my life on the street.
I'm going to go on home.
Wow. Because if I was with my friend and we picked up a hitchhiker and then he was like, I'm going to rape her, I'd be like, no, you're not. And neither am I. We're not raping anybody. This is fucking crazy. Yeah. So that's nuts. You got to be on board for that shit.
Well, it's not.
Yeah. If you were driving and you're like, well, we're going to rape her, I'd be like, we ain't rape. No, we're not. We are not doing that. Absolutely
Come on,
not.
James, it'll be
Come
fun.
on.
What?
No.
How do you even talk somebody into it?
That's what I mean. You got to be sick fucks that know you're sick fucks to begin with.
Yeah.
To have that, to not think, oh, this person might not think this is cool. Right. I mean, you're doing a horrible, brutal thing. Yeah.
Taking a chance.
You got to be sure that this person's down with that, which means you've talked about it before or done something like this before too with them. So who knows? Either way, that is Utah. Holy shit. Man, Utah is, again, a crazy place.
It's a weird state, man. Yeah.
It's so, smiley and waving from the front door, but holy shit, when they murder you, they really murder you.
I blame that 3-2 beer that they have. It's very frustrating.
No one gets drunk enough.
Everybody's frustrated.
They're not drunk enough to be even a happy drunk. They're just pissed off. Why ain't I drunker? Shit.
Can't order a double? I'm going to drink 13 of these then, you assholes.
It's going to be a mess. So there you go. There's that. If you enjoyed that, tell everyone about it. Get on whatever app you're listening on. You can rate and review on just about all of them. Give us 5 stars. Say something nice. I know there's plenty of them on there and stuff, but it helps drive the show up the charts. It really does. It feeds the algorithm that helps our show. So thank you for doing that. It really means a lot to us. You definitely want to follow us on social media as well. Right. That way you can find out all the latest stuff, new stuff, tour dates when they come out next year. Follow us there. We are at Small Town Murder on Instagram, at Small Town Pod on Facebook, at Murder Small on Twitter. Right. So follow us all around on there. You also want to head over to shutupandgivememurder.com, where you can get, first of all the merchandise. It's everything from skateboards to shower curtains you can get there. Literally everything with all sorts shit you don't even know exists. I'll see people, they should make a shirt that says this. And it's like, motherfucker, we have one. Get in there. Check it out. So do that. And also while you're there, grab tickets for Dallas on December the 2nd of this year, our last live show of the year, last opportunity to come out and hang with us before we announce next year's dates. We're excited for that. Few tickets left, so get in there and get those. Thank you. That's shutupandgivememurder.com. You definitely want Patreon.
Oh, yeah.
Patreon.com/crimeinsports, which, by the way, is the name of our other show that you should fucking listen to. There's so much murder lately, too. Yeah. So horrible murder. As bad as this just happened on the show.
Yeah.
Maybe worse. I don't know. There's that. And also Your Stupid Opinions you should listen to as well.
Oh,
but back to Patreon. Patreon.com/crimeinsports. You are going to get anybody $5 a month or above. A cup of coffee. What do you want? A cup of coffee?
Jesus.
No. I want hundreds of episodes instead. Fuck coffee. That's what you should say. For $5, you get, it's like 200 plus back episodes, plus new ones every other week. One Crime and Sports, one Small Town Murder, and you get it all, damn it.
All of it.
And they cross over, too.
They do.
We do theme park disasters on Crime and Sports. You're interested in that, too.
What else do we do?
Check it all that. But we're going to do that every other day, every other week. And you'll get a shout-out at the end of the show, which is coming up in a minute here. But the episodes you're going to get this week, first of all, for Crime and Sports, which you get, again, we're going to talk about roller derby.
Oh, boy.
We don't know what it is. We know people that do it.
Yeah.
We see what they do. It looks pretty cool. Is it like wrestling? Is there a score? We have no fucking idea. So
is there a ball?
not only is there a ball, not only that, we're going to go into the history of it because it's got a crazy history. At one point, it was one of the biggest. It was like as big a television. It was bigger than the NFL at one point. In the 50s. Oh, in the 50s, these people the roller derby people were celebrities. It was on TV every day.
Wow.
It was wrestling and roller derby were the two things that were on that were huge. Football was nothing compared to that yet.
Right.
So, and then it all collapsed and from greed and everything else. We'll talk about that. Then for Small Town Murder, we are going to talk about our favorite Love After Lockup, baby.
Yeah.
We're going to catch up with all the people who've made terrible life decisions, mainly really from the beginning, but some of the people have made good decisions up until right now when they're going to destroy their lives. Yeah. So we'll talk all about it. New people. There's even a dead guy in there. Guy died.
Who's your favorite character so far?
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
Should I tell you mine?
My least. Go ahead, please.
My favorite is Cough Drop. That person is wonderful.
I'm disturbed by Louie and the girl from New Jersey a lot.
That is interesting. A side character, I guess. Cough Drop is terrific.
That's a good side character. So find out the nature of Cough Drop and many others on Patreon. Patreon.com/crime and sports. Yeah. And Jimmie, please hit me with the names of the wonderful people who have signed up and are getting this wonderful content. And we are just so fucking thrilled to have in our little camp. Thank you, everybody. Hit me with them right now.
This week's executive producers are Kyle Norwig and his pup Winston. Hang in there, Kyle. Tanya Kruger, Tara. Is it Tara Parker or Tiara Parker? I don't know. Jeff Watson also. Jeff, thank you so much for being such a goddamn rock star. He's such a good dude. I like that guy a lot.
Yeah, we appreciate
He likes the Raiders,
man.
but he's a good dude.
That's okay. We'll let that slide.
Other producers this week are...
He's suffered a lot of pain.
He really has.
It's fine.
Other producers this week are Peyton Meadows, Alexandra Chico, Dr. Holden Scroats, urologist, Janice Hill, Lisa Gingrich, Steve Schnell, Greg McPeak, Rich O'Brien, Misty Queef. Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
That's not real. Ed Lemon, 1. Lakota Wright, Matt McCune, Joanna Fan, Joanna, that's what it is. Marcus Lembrick Jr., Sunchild with no last name, Alex Tarkington, Peter Deutsch, David Kilgore, Kim Cox, Amanda Short, Kelsey Jacks, Christy Stewart, Connor Patrick Hefferman, Zoe Bowyer. It's Bowyer. Is it Bauer? Oh, boy, I don't know. Joni Roach, Kyle DeRoach, Kristen Musselman, Nicole Crumley, Afton Most, Amber Aversion. That can't be right. That's got to be an accidental correction. All right. Becca Cottrell, Nika with no last name, Men with no last name, Chelsea Watt, Sam Bloom, Wade Morrison, Peter Wargowski, Ashley Maroney, Adele Brownlee, Shabrian McKendry. All right.
That's
Justin
cool.
White, Bradley
Cool.
Castellan. That's a tough last. It's a tough handle. Jared Geiger, Tequila Nicole, Joel Hurdell, Trisha with no last name, Kaylee maybe, Reeves, Filene, Leader? Fuck, I don't know. Barbie, Wojciechowski, Susan Shelton, Catherine Moore. I'm moving on. I can't do it. Can you do it, Katie? Cody Boguzo, Alan Bemis, Mindy Cass, Lewis Ludwig, BD. That's just the 2 letters. This show brought to you by B and D. Cayman.
Number 1, motherfucker.
Cayman Long, Jess with no last name, Jane Walks, Reagan and Stacy Hildebrand, Wayne Easlick, James Not Pietragallo, David Mongeris.
Good for you.
Marty Wilholt, Melissa Loves You, or us, or everybody. Yoselin, Yoselin, Quijada, that's what it is.
There we go.
Michael Rowley, Brett Baker, Stam, Newsom, Joey Sanchez, Logan Cook, Caitlin Reynolds, Danny Alvalis, Jason Wilson, Justin Kwasaborski, Erica Winnan, Riza Cooperstein, Daniel with no last name, Amy Wood, Heather Strong, Kent Gerard, Stacy B, Travis Porter, Kate Hudson, Katie Hudson, Hudson, maybe Huston. Is it Katie? Is it Kate?
I think she's just donating for her mom and dad. That's all it is.
Probably, yeah. Patrick Whipple. Dylan Freeman, Hannah with no last name, Christian Allison
Christian Cochran.
Middlemas, Christian
Where's Titsworth with
Cochran.
that?
It keeps the babies away until after marriage. Andrea Gomez, Jillian Adriana, Chris Towson, Rebecca Carey, Tyler Coates, Kindry with no last name, Onassis with no last name, Brian Smythe, Kenneth O'Hayes, nope, it's just Kenneth Hayes, Lisa O'Queerkick, Our Crick, shit, Maddie Nolte, Mark Cole, Stephanie Maiden, John Greer, Jules with no last name, Linda Salvatore, Tim Glover, Susan Harris, Michelle Viata, Rebecca Herring, Keith Wilson, Brent Ming, Taryn Titus, Gilbert Espino, Natasha Whitman, Tabs with no last name, Diana Key, Brittany Schrimsher, Daniel Ruzanowski, that's right, Baron of Barnsley, Catherine O'Cleary, nope, that's just Cleary, Alex Hill, Holly Gibbs, Eileen Warden, Michael Hayuk, Allie with no last, Allie with no last name, Maddie Hines, Connor with no last name, Annette Hollywood, Sheila Muncie, Peter Jessup, and all of our patrons. You're phenomenal. Thank you.
Thank you, you wonderful, wonderful bastards.
Wow.
We cannot tell you how thankful we are to you for what you do for us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you want to track us down outside of right here, you can do that on social media. Just head over to shutupandgivememurder.com, drop down menu, and you can pick and choose and do all that shit. Keep coming back and seeing us. And until next week, everybody, it's been our pleasure.
Wow.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them. Or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer.
I can really show you how to make some money.
And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a microcity built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.